there was this woman, and she was on an airplane. She's flying to meet her fiancé, sailing above the largest ocean on planet Earth, and she was seated next to this man who, she tried to start conversations, and really the only thing that you heard him say was just to order his Bloody Mary. And she's sitting there, and she's reading this really arduous magazine article about a third world country that she couldn't even pronounce the name of, and she's feeling very bored and very despondent. And then suddenly there was this huge mechanical failure, and one of the engines gave out, and they just start falling 30,000 feet. And the pilot's on the microphone, and he's saying, I'm sorry, oh my God, I'm sorry, and apologizing. And she looks at the man, and she says, where are we going? And he looks at her, and he says, we're going to a podcast. It's a podcast recording. It's your podcast. Happy podcast, darling. We love your podcast very, 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 very much. And then he starts humming this little tune, and it goes like this. It's kind of 1, 2, 1, 6, 6, 6.
Set fire to the preacher who is promising us hell. In the ear of every anarchist that sleeps but doesn't dream. We must sing, we must sing, we must sing.
Like this, alright. How my mother waters plants, my father loads his gun. His death will bring us back to God, just like the setting sun.
Memorize 9 numbers and deny we have a soul. In this endless race for property and privilege to be won, we must run, we must run, we must run.
We must hang up in the belfry where the bats in moonlight laugh. We must stare into our crystal ball and only see the past. And into the caverns of tomorrow with our flashlights and our love. We must plunge, we must plunge, we must plunge.
Down there at the very bottom of everything, that's when we see it. Oh my God, we see it!
Oh, my morning's coming back. The whole world's waking up. City buses swimming past. I'm happy just because I'm down that I am really know.
Nailed it. Okay, hello and welcome to Bright Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose, the comprehensive, encyclopedic podcast about the discography, the flawless discography of Conor Oberst. I'm sorry. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your other host, Morgan.
City Morgan, that is.
City Morgan.
We should specify.
Yeah.
And we are
It's
joined
different.
today by 2 guests because this is a giant... I'm going to turn my cell phone off.
You should.
This is a giant album, if not track-wise, but just in our minds. So we wanted to do a giant episode. So we have two guests. Introduce yourselves, please.
What's up? I'm Mackenzie from the Meltdowns.
And I am Tyler from the Meltdowns.
So, we are here, convened today, to talk about Wide Awake It's Morning, which is the big one. A while ago I said that Lifted was my favorite Bright Eyes album. I was wrong. Wide Awake It's Morning is my favorite Bright Eyes album, and it's the best Bright Eyes album, like objectively the best one.
Yeah, well, okay, so it's the best in... Here's how I look at it. Number one, commercially. And And as far as like, if anyone were to give a shit about Billboard charts or things like that, this is the album.
Yeah.
That I saw numbers that were like up to 2010 on sales. It had something like, I want to say 550,000 copies sold or something like that.
You know what's funny is because I grew up in the era of like Puff Daddy going like quadruple platinum, I'm always so fucking shocked when they're like, this album's selling really well. It's almost sold 100,000 copies. But you're right. This was the biggest Bright Eyes commercial success, and it's also like when Bright Eyes became Bright Eyes officially. You know?
Yeah, it is.
Literally, it's
It
when
is.
Nate Walcott joined the band.
Which there is an announcement into the ether of the universe. Where he appears, he appears and the universe shudders, and everything is completed in the world for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And also, I think that as far as album construction is concerned, front to back, this album is every song is good.
Speaking of album construction, I want to give a quick shout out to the Slate review of the Better Oblivion Community Center record. I'm going to stop myself from saying that I'm going to link to things, because that's stupid. I never click on links. I just search things. Searching has gotten easy. I'm done posting links to shit. Look it up, okay? Look up the Slate review of Better Oblivion Community Center. I felt very seen by this album review. It talked a lot about like the arc of Conor Oberst's career, the way he sounds emotionally, the political positioning of this album, of Conor Oberst, this older guy who has suffered through a sexual misconduct accusation that proved to be untrue, now, you know, like joining forces in like an equal 50-50 partnership with Phoebe Bridgers, and like the symbology of that. Mm-hmm. And then also just the sequencing of the album being so good. It's all in there. It's a great article. A+. I think the writer's name was like Carl something. I want to say Carl Reiner, but that's wrong.
A+ Carl something.
Shush, calm down. I'm going to kick you out if I have to.
Do you think Carl Reiner's ever heard of Bright Eyes?
You know, Bright Eyes is so popular with like the Judd Apatow set, you know?
Sure.
When we get to talking about Road to Joy, we'll talk about the fact that it's used very bizarrely in the Pete Holmes show Crashing.
Really?
And, I mean, it works, oddly, but, and then, I think We Are Nowhere and It's Now is in Knocked Up.
One of those songs is, yeah.
I'm getting free with this private
Previous business. I just want to say, since we last spoke, Better Oblivion Community Center is a fucking cultural phenomenon now.
Yeah, it's crazy how it blew up.
They announced a tour. It sold out in seconds. We obviously did not get tickets because we did not have our act together.
No.
But that's okay. Like, I'm okay with it. I have a tradition of, like, missing the Conor Oberst special outfits. You know, I've never seen Desaparecidos.
Sure.
It's just, like, it's just part of the... I've seen Conor Oberst 10 times. It's okay. I can miss every couple of projects.
I feel that way too, especially because I kind of feel like, I mean, just with the heat that they got going on, yeah, it's going to be hard to get tickets. Might as well just wait until like the next album.
Let Conor Oberst, have some fun, you know, and just be like, yeah, man. I mean, we're going to be here for you regardless, buddy.
Yeah.
So like, you don't need us right now.
No, he doesn't.
You got lots of Phoebe Bridgers fans. Shout out to Tom, listener of the show, Tom, who went to go see Better Oblivion Community Center because he's a Phoebe Bridgers fan, and he's been getting into Conor Oberst through this podcast.
I know. I was so stoked when I read that.
Very
I was like,
excited.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, we've got several fan shout-outs here. We got to also shout out Steven, who got us on Oboards, the Conor Oberst Reddit page.
Yes.
We got 17 upvotes, which
Yeah.
is pretty good for Oboards.
Yeah. Totally.
We made it onto the front page with those 17 upvotes. My other update that I wanted to bring in here is that a lot of 90s rock dudes are super getting into Saddle Creek right now. So, like, Adam Duritz of the Counting Crows is, like, obsessed with, like, he's, like, always commenting on Maria Taylor's Instagrams, and he's, like, super into Hop Along, and I'm opening the on the internet, on Twitter, whatever, to predictions. who's the next 90s rocker who's gonna like fall hard for, who's gonna start like tweeting about Conor Oberst or Hopalong, like the guy from Third Eye Blind, maybe.
I'd want to see Scott Stapp do it. I think Scott Stapp would have an interesting take.
Do you think Scott Stapp has a Twitter account?
No, I don't know. I did find out that apparently he's playing a Portuguese festival in New Bedford in the summer, so you might catch all four of us at the Scott Stapp show.
Do you think Scott Stapp is like doing like ukulele songs like the guy from Pearl Jam now?
Wait, have I told you about the Scott Stapp baseball song yet?
No, he's a song about baseball.
So Creed's from Florida, and so he has a song called "Marlins Will Soar." That's basically him taking the lyrics of an old song of his and replacing it all about baseball, and it's like one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Is a marlin a bird?
It's a fish.
It's a fish?
Fish, yeah.
Why would a
It's like
fish
a
soar?
sword. It's like a swordfish.
Why would a fish soar?
Well, the original chorus for the song was like, "Keep hoping and wishing that you."
Don't act like you don't know the lyrics to this song.
Sorry. Well, it's Scott Stapp's solo. It's not Creed, so I'm a little shaky.
I can also confirm Scott Stapp does have a Twitter account.
Are you an authority on Scott Stapp?
Not necessarily, but I like Creed.
Okay.
In kind of the half/post ironic way. You know?
That is surprising.
Really?
That's a real curveball for me that you like Creed.
Well, it's not that I like Creed. It's that I think Creed is funny, and I think they're good because of that.
That I get.
What do you think is the closest Conor Oberst has come to Creed musically?
Oh God.
Dos Persinos?
No, there's some kind of something like Roosevelt Room from the Mystic Valley Band has this kind of misplaced aggressiveness.
Okay.
What good are you? With your Cherokee Trail and your Roosevelt Room. What good are you?
I mean, what I'd say about Roosevelt Room is that he basically rewrote it 10 years later with the song Napalm. He was just like, I'm just
by
going
the
to
way,
Roosevelt Room
the
again.
bit with Roosevelt Room, I find it hard to get behind anyone who is, writing a song specifically to, it's not pandering, but,
Writing a song on behalf of Native Americans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I did that. You have a video of a song called How the West Was Lost.
Yeah.
From 10 years ago. And that just didn't sit well with me that I did that, you know? So it might just be my personal opinion of it, but I'm on the Native American side. I am a friend to the Native Americans.
Of course.
Okay?
Yes.
I've seen Incident at Oglala, all right? Here's the deal. That's a great Robert Redford documentary about a fucking awesome thing that happened at this reservation. These two FBI agents roll up and get shot, and it's like a whole wicked racist court case against the Native Americans. It's fucking awesome. That all being said, I don't know. Maybe don't write a song
I would say part of the problem with Roosevelt Room too is that it's directionally confused. So in the verses, he's singing from the point of view of Native Americans, then about Native Americans, then back, and it's really hard to follow.
That being said, it's a fucking badass song.
But Napalm is basically the same song, and it's better.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, my only other piece of business from previous episodes was that I've heard some ABBA songs now.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I saw the Spalding High School, 20 minutes of the Spalding High School production of Mamma Mia, and therefore I heard some ABBA songs. And I joked that ABBA might be an acronym.
Yeah.
And it turns out it
is. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
for what?
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
Go
a game.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
We have a game here.
Okay.
It's the first letter of each group member's name. So I want you to tell me which one is the real version of ABBA, okay?
Oh, I like this.
Version 1.
Okay.
ABBA stands for Alexis Bledel, Brian Austin Green, Benji Madden, Adnan Syed.
Okay, it's obviously not that one.
ABBA is for Adrian Brody, Bradley Cooper, Alec Baldwin.
Okay, that's obviously in the running. It might be that one.
Option C. Agnetha Ekthorpe, Bjorn Svensson,
Of course it's this one. They're
Bjorn-
fucking Swedish.
Bjorn Jensen, and Agnetha Rents. That's Agnetha Ekthorpe, Bjorn Svensson, Bjorn Jensen, Agnetha Rents.
Now,
Two Bjorns
one
make
of-
sense to me.
One of them is Benny. One of them is Benny.
Okay.
The last one, okay, option D, Agnetha Falskog, Bjorn Ulvaeus, Benny Andersson, and Anna Frid Lindstedt.
Okay,
I'm gonna go hard D on that one.
Hard D.
All right, you're right. Let me tell you how I came up with the answers for this question. First of all, I googled celebrities that start with A, and I found a People magazine page where they just list every celebrity that starts with the letter A.
So somebody's cheating at categories.
And then I googled the top-selling IKEA furniture, and I added those as the last names. For
I like
the
that.
false
That's
version.
a good. I like that.
Ekthorpe is a nice rug.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
So you heard some ABBA songs, great. What about Cher? Have you listened to Dark Lady yet?
No, I haven't listened to Cher. I mean, I know Cher culturally.
Do you know? So you haven't listened to Dark Lady? You haven't listened to Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves?
I know Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. Though.
You know
like,
that?
Again, that's just one that's
You know
like
that
it's
song?
just osmosified into me.
Have you listened to like actual ABBA or just this like school theater?
No, I just heard
production?
teenagers sing it.
You
Okay,
gotta
what
listen to
about
Gold,
SOS,
bro.
man?
You gotta listen to Gold. It's some of the best pop music you're ever gonna hear in your goddamn life.
Okay.
Literally
You
just
gotta have
listen
a
to the
goal.
song SOS, man. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Banger.
Okay. I will. I'll do it. I have been watching Chopped. I've been back.
course you
I
have.
fell back into the Chopped hole. Well, so I've been trying to create this thing called Chopped Bingo for years.
Okay.
Where, it's a bingo game, and it's like Beurre Blanc. A chef cuts themselves. Somebody tries to make a pot de creme, whatever the fuck, and it's like you can do
Ice
all
cream
this
machine
stuff.
drama.
Ice cream machine, yeah. They leave it. It gets overturned, turns into butter.
Yeah.
Ice cream machine overturned. But the thing is, there's so many Chopped cliches that you can't build a winning board.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, with some of our friends, we've like beta tested somewhere I have a stack of Chopped bingo boards, and it's like nobody's ever won because it's like impossible.
many.
But you could make it easier, right? You could do like Scott Conant is one instead of like Scott Conant gets mad someone didn't salt pasta water, but it's not funny. So the problem is what I want you to get the Chopped board and laugh at all the answers, and then maybe have some of them come true. But to compromise and to make it too easy would make it less funny. So it's like, I don't know.
You gotta find the middle ground.
Yeah, did the people who created Monopoly have this problem where they were like, I want it to be really funny because it's Monopoly. Look at how capitalism destroys people. It's hilarious, But then somewhere along the way, they were like, oh shit, I guess these two properties here have to be really cheap because otherwise, what is anybody gonna do? I don't know. But that's what I think about when I watch Chopped.
We're about to start beta testing our idea of having competitive karaoke leagues, much like bowling leagues.
We're trying to shop that idea around to bars in the area.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I don't really know how... I feel like the only way to truly judge a karaoke performance is to be hypercritical of someone who's just having fun doing it. So that creates a flaw.
That's the thing
a
is
little
that
bit.
how do you what is it, scoring?
I feel like it's solely performance based and like how much you're actually putting into the performance.
Yeah.
Like the vocal performance might not be spot on, but if the energy's there, if you're really committing to it, if you're clearly having fun, very important factors.
Right.
But as we all know, karaoke is very serious and not at all.
Yeah,
for
it
fun.
should be treated like the craft it is.
Honestly, I think you could easily spin this from like local bar phenomenon into reality show within like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
That's the speed of this shit. There's like 7 different shows where celebrities drive around in cars singing now.
Yeah.
So like
That's true.
the world is your oyster. I was thinking about a few different things about I'm Wide Awake, and one is just that there was a very long cultural moment in which this album existed. Like, it came out in 2005, but it was just like around for a long time.
Yeah.
And to like give you a sense of that, Conor Oberst performed at the bottom of everything back when it was called Sing 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 on Craig Kilborn, and then he came back to play Road to Joy, and by then Craig Kilborn was already gone as the host, and Craig Ferguson had already taken over. So it spanned 2 different hosts, and in the middle, he played When the President Talks to God on Jay Leno.
Do you guys even know who Craig Kilborn is?
I gotta be honest, I do not.
Okay, so
Craig Kilborn, he's one of TV's legendary quitters.
Yeah, he was.
He's in the proud tradition of like Rob Lowe and Adam Pally, people that just, if you hire them for a TV show, they're not going to stick around until the end. So he was the original host of The Daily Show before Jon Stewart.
Yeah. to the point where Jon Stewart was forced to wear Craig Kilborn's suits because they were so broke when they had like given up the show.
And like people like Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell and stuff predated Jon Stewart on and so I mean I actually remember it, and then I remember watching Craig Kilborn on the Late Late Show.
Yeah,
and I liked Craig Kilborn.
I loved Craig Kilborn. Oh my god,
we would stay up. We lived in the basement of my mom's house, and when I was 13 and Morgan was 9, and we would stay up like all night watching late night TV. So we would watch Letterman, and then we would usually switch. I think we just switch channels.
Yeah, because we fucking hated Jay Leno like everybody did.
Oh no, I guess it was all CBS. We would watch Letterman, and then we would watch Craig Kilborn.
So Craig Kilborn, the last show. He had a bottle of whiskey on the table.
I remember this! Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
Remember?
Because he advertised it like all week.
He had this bottle of whiskey on the desk that he was going to drink during the show.
Yeah. So his last show, he like drank the bottle of whiskey the whole show.
The whole bottle?
Yeah, with all the guests.
Yeah, I don't know how far he made it in.
Yeah. He was awesome. He was a wicked badass. What was cool about him was he had gotten his start in SportsCenter.
Oh,
yes.
So the Aaron Sorkin show, Sports Night, that Zach was just talking about, Peter Krause's character is like loosely based on Craig Kilborn.
Yeah, he's like somewhere between Craig Kilborn and Keith Olbermann, is who he's based on. Yeah.
Yeah, Keith Olbermann was another one that was like was he SportsCenter too?
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's how long
this album, yeah.
I'm Wide Awake It's Morning was around. Also, I mean, he went on a double tour.
Yeah.
So I saw Conor Oberst in Concord on one of the versions of the I'm Wide Awake It's tour, but it wasn't like there's a live album.
Let's start with this. Mm-hmm. When we saw him on the Monsters of Folk original tour, before the Monsters of Folk were a thing, they all went on a tour together.
Yeah.
I want to say like 2003.
Maybe 2003, 2004.
Okay, so they all did this tour where it was like M. Ward came out, played a set, which, by the way, that night, M. Ward played a song on the guitar that I thought was going to literally shatter his guitar.
Yeah.
It was fucking insane.
Yeah.
He was so good back then. I mean, he still was. We saw him this summer.
He's still good, but he's like
fucking awesome.
He doesn't like pick and play as hard as he used to.
No.
He's on this record, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Or no, he's not?
No,
I don't
probably
think
not.
so.
Who does the vocal part?
Jim James.
Oh,
is in
shit. Okay.
Yeah. So
the other monster.
when we saw so what I was trying to backtrack to was we saw him play Lua at that show.
Lua and We Are Nowhere and It's Now.
Oh, and probably one foot in front of the other. No.
I don't know, but it was definitely Lua was the first time we ever heard it. So we heard Lua live, and I remember that because it was like. I mean, I think some of the lyrics were a little different.
Sure they were.
But it was, like, beautiful sound, clear as day, like, amazing, wonderful moment. And he was already super drunk, as he would always be back in those days. But, like, had this moment of lucidity while he stood there and played Lua, and it was goddamn magical, man.
Yeah.
That was one of many. So the two shows that I saw on either side of this album were two of the best performances I've ever seen from him. I saw him in Concord with a massive, giant 2-drummer band, a harp, all this other shit. And that was, they did like, Old Soul Song for the New World Order and stuff, and it was just massive. And so I saw him twice during the touring cycle of this album, and I think I missed another show in between. So, like, it went on forever in the way that nothing seems to go on forever anymore. Like, everybody's album is out and over within 3 months. And this album this album and Digital Ash were around for, like, 2 fucking years.
So we need to talk about that. This album was released on the same day as another album of his. One is a folk album, one is a digital album. The folk album is the one we're talking about, I'm Wide Awake It's Morning. The other album is called Digital Ash and a Digital Urn. When it came out, first of all, no one has ever fucking done this to my knowledge. People put out double discs and stuff like that.
Didn't Frank Ocean, dump an album?
Yeah,
in a way he did.
Or Endless and Blonde, sorry.
He put out Endless to fulfill his Def Jam contract.
Yeah.
And then he put out Blonde the next day, and I want to say it was like A$AP Rocky said something on a radio interview about how he conned Def Jam out of $20 million, and probably and then some since then.
Yeah.
Because Blonde became what it is. But
Yeah.
But that's like the closest analog, because but in a weird way, because I think at this point Conor Oberst was like bursting with so much energy, but Digital Ash necessarily drained out a lot of excess that left I'm Wide Awake It's Morning this very stripped down and like simple album. It's almost like he wouldn't have been able to do it if he didn't indulge himself with Digital Ash. He wouldn't have been able to make I'm Wide Awake.
Well, and I think that we've talked about how, like, Digital Ash, we kind of have seen the groundwork for in these early albums, where, like, he started to figure out that sound. But then he also had this other influence of meeting Jim James and M. Ward and creating this other sound that he was doing kind of simultaneously. Along with that comes the idea that, like, these two albums are so perfectly put together, and I think a lot of the reason that happens is that he had a lot of these songs in his back pocket for a while.
Yeah, because when we saw him perform Lua, some of the words were different. When he played a song that became At the Bottom of Everything on Craig Kilborn, a lot of the lyrics were different. It was like he was just...
One Foot in Front of the Other was kicking around for a million years before it became Landlocked Blues.
Right. Have you ever heard that?
No, I don't think so.
There's an original version of the song that we heard, which I was hoping you could maybe clear that up.
It's on Saddle Creek 50.
Okay. There's a lot of times where I'm like, because I was so young, I don't remember certain things, and Zach's like, "Oh no, I got it from this."
It's like
and
a
I'm
more
like,
upbeat.
"Oh, okay."
It's weird. It's like more upbeat. There's like it's a little faster, and it's just not. And obviously, Emmylou Harris isn't on it, so it's very weird to hear One Foot in Front of the Other after you know Landlocked Blues. But for me, I knew One Foot in Front of the Other.
Yeah.
And it was a little strange to hear this like slowed down
I actually
version.
think that we both liked the other version a little better when we first heard this album. I did, at least.
Yeah, I think I did too. And then I realized, like, I thought Landlocked Blues is the clincher for anybody. Like, anybody you want to, like, introduce to Bright Eyes, play on Landlocked Blues. And they're like, oh, okay, I like this.
Yeah. Well, there's two versions of Bright Eyes. It's that upbeat digital thing where it's like, show them whatever you want to
Take it
show
easy.
them. Yeah, show them Take It Easy, and then show them Landlocked Blues, and be like, that's
That's
the
basically
guy.
it, but there's also more.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you start listening? When did you hear this album the first time?
I would say that this is the Bright Eyes record that I am the most familiar with, which is why I requested to be on this episode.
Yeah.
I got really into him because a couple of my close friends when I was like in middle school were really into him and would like send me all the records. But definitely like this record specifically probably between the ages of like 12 and 16 is when I was like the most heavily into it. And what's really interesting about it, at least with recent listens of it in preparation for this episode, is that with, you know, similar to a lot of music that I listen to as younger, it's a similar thing that I have to the Smiths, similar thing I have to the Cure or whatever. I got a lot of different things out of it coming back to it as a 23-year-old than I did 10 years ago, which is basically that the prime emotion that I was feeling at the time. It's just like, oh, this is so sad. Like, fuck yeah, I'm sad. This is also sad. This is sick. And now I kind of view it as a little bit more of a kind of a postmodern record a little bit, kind of a comment on the Bush years in a way that not a lot of people were really doing, kind of a more authentic and authentic through looking at technology and all that kind of shit, which is basically my thesis of my opinion on it. But yeah, basically getting a lot different takes on it now that I have perspective and understand where he was coming from and all that kind of shit. But
Do you have not to interrupt this, do you have a thesis of what you think this album is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I'll get into it.
All right, me too. Okay, great.
Tell me about it.
So this is like the Bright Eyes record that I was like introduced to Bright Eyes through this record. For years, this is the only Bright Eyes record that I had listened to. Not until honestly, not until last year did I really expand upon the discography. I'm like kind of a fairly casual Bright Eyes listener, but I definitely
blasphemy.
I know, this is crazy. No, I was really interested to see how this was going to go down because I'm like a very casual listener.
Well, I think that's like important for us, right? I think it's like important for our development.
And because I've listened to other episodes of you guys talking about Bright Eyes and just to like have had you guys talk about Bright Eyes just like while I've been around and like I understand
every minute of every day.
Yeah, you're very committed, and I think that's great. And I've honestly learned a lot about Bright Eyes from this, but I want to say it was 2011, 2012. It was my senior year of high school, and I listened to it once, and I immediately went and I bought the CD so I could have it in my car, and I listened to it all the time. And I have a really vivid memory of on my 18th birthday going to somebody I went to high school with's graduation party, and then not hanging out with anybody else for the rest of the day because they were all there. And I just drove around and listened to this record in what is now my car, what at the time was my mom's car, and then that CD lived in my mom's car until I got it again from her like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, I mean, I listened to this album like, you know, the day it was released or whatever, you know, and for me, it's a lot of like my relationship with Christy, who I started dating around the time that this album came out.
Yeah.
It really has informed my like political perspective, you know, because I like was in high school during like I think the range of like my youth is like Iraq War to Occupy Wall Street, you know? And I feel like Conor Oberst took stock of what was happening with George Bush and basically just saw at least that far, you know, even just within this album. And so it's like, it's the soundtrack to the years that I was a young person, basically. And I do think it has a lot to do with, it has very much informed my, like, my political perspective and the way it's connected to my emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I didn't even really know is different about me than other people, but when I have political arguments with people, a lot of the time it's because they think about it in this like logical, dispassionate way, and for me it's always political, is always personal, it's always emotional, and it's all connected to each other, and it's like through Conor Oberst that I learned to tie those pieces together in my brain. So, you know, like a big, take that out of my brain, it's like it doesn't even work anymore. I can't even form sentences.
When I think about it, when it first came out, in 2005, it's from January 2005 is when it was released. Those albums, I received. I've never spoken about a woman named Nora, who was very important to me when I was a younger man. We dated for a long time. She taught me a lot about like being a political and social person, because I was very when I think about what I was like in 2005, I was 14. I was being bullied every day at school because I was misunderstood, like most artists at that time. And so there was a lot of like solace in this type of thing for me. Nora gave me for Christmas that year a card that came from Saddle Creek that said that on January like 16th, 2 weeks before the album was supposed to come out, I was going to receive both of them in the mail.
Huh.
I want to say that you graduated high school in
06.
2006. Yeah, okay.
So a year after this.
So the thing is that Zach and Christy had very much kind of already developed where they were like spending all of their time together. Mm-hmm. And I felt very like abandoned by that because he was my bigger brother that had this girlfriend and was going off and doing his own thing. But then I kind of found my people right about this time.
Okay.
A friend of mine named Chris Dalpy was like a big part of that. So all of this took place.
Shout out to Chris.
So shout out to Chris for sure. So Nora gave me these gifts. I heard this album for the first time, took what I took from it. But now, listening to it, I think of my 20s very much as, like, what he's talking about in this album. Because I think of it as, like, you're not a kid anymore. You're an adult who forms his own opinions, does his own things. Here's the problem with those own things. You're doing a lot of drugs and drinking a lot. And, like, even though Conor Oberst for years did those things, and from what I understand still does those things, he understands the gravity of them. And he understands that, like, it's all about just kind of, like, shutting everything else out or whatever. But, like, the descriptions on this album of drug use and drinking and things like that are not good. You know, he doesn't paint them in a positive light. But he paints them in, like, a necessary light or something like that.
Yeah, like when Lua conjures memories, it does not conjure good memories.
No, but it conjures important memories.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think about with Lua is, like, you keep going to the bathroom, you always say you'll be right back. He's talking about sharing a flask on the train, and he makes it romantic and things like that. But when I think about those things, what I think about in my memories of those times, like, that is not a romantic memory for me. And the song does not make me feel romantic for those times. No. But it makes me feel nostalgic to a certain extent for those times. All of this being said at 28. So I think that all of this music changes over time. We've already kind of established that. What we really started to nail it down with Lifted, where it's like, it feels different now.
Yeah.
And that's important for albums to stay important to you.
Yeah. Certain songs will, like, resonate with you more at one time than another. And that's the funny part, is that for me right now, I am thinking a lot about how my way of thinking was formed, how I saw the world, and how that's changing now. Or really, I don't think it's really changing. It's deepening, I guess. My understanding of things is, like, deepening. And I'm trying to get more involved, and I'm, like, trying to, like, make the world a better place now for, like, my child. So it's that part of it that resonates with me more strongly when I listen to it now. Like, I think about, like, Conor Oberst being, like, this early truth teller about George Bush. Like, really early.
Yeah.
Like, I just read an interview today where he mentioned that the Desaparecidos album was recorded the week after 9/11. Like, the week after 9/11, they were like, yeah, no, we're making this album about how America sucks. Like, and that was big. But it's so amazing that all of that can be contained within this album.
When did you guys graduate high school?
That was 2012.
It's 2014.
So, like...
06, what's up?
So
2005, I was in 5th grade.
Okay, so 9/11 is
18 the year this album came.
9/11 is not a too big of a memory for you.
I recall being in I was in 2nd grade when 9/11 happened. I remember getting picked up from school early, and I remember watching it on the news with my grandmother, but not really understanding what was going on.
Certainly not. No one would.
No.
I definitely did not grasp 9/11 at the time. Here's my problem with the Desaparecidos album coming out the week
being recorded. It was recorded the week of 9/11.
The country was, like, ripped apart by it, you know? And I just absolutely cannot imagine being on that wavelength at that time.
Yeah. People were so dumb in the aftermath of 9/11 in a well-meaning way.
Right.
But they were like,
but it's so hard to
describe
because
that song that Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. That was a song on the radio.
Well,
and Jimmy Eat World had to retitle their album.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Because it came out on September 11th.
Yeah. So Christy and I each have a copy of that album. I have the one that's titled Bleed American. She has the one that's titled Jimmy Eat World.
The thing is with it is just that in that type of event, I don't feel like I truly grasped 9/11 until I was a sophomore in high school. I was watching a documentary, and this guy no, it wasn't. I don't even remember what it was. It was in a high school sophomore class, and I was watching it, and this guy is talking about seeing the first plane hit, running down to his child's kindergarten and grabbing her because he was like freaking out. And on his way out, she's facing the Twin Towers, and she says, "Look, Daddy, they're doing it on purpose," and points up, and he sees the second tower hit. And I was sitting in a class, and I just started crying, which now, in today's day and age, City Morgan cries pretty much at the drop of a hat. I would say that I probably cried twice before coming over here today.
Wow.
So like, that's nothing new. But, that being said, I remember watching it and being so shaken up and being like, oh, I finally grasped this. Just because, not for what it means as like a terrorist attack or anything like against the country, just more about what the general terror that the people felt.
Yes.
So the idea of them going out and recording this shortly after, not this, but the Desperacidos album, that's like troubling. Because it's like, how did you have the mindset that you were like, I still stick to these guns when you're on the floor?
I do think a lot of people saw it, though. I think a lot of people saw it coming.
Yeah.
They said, this is what a lot of forces in the United States, a lot of malicious forces have been waiting for forever.
Yeah.
And a lot of life was lost, and a lot of tragic things happened, and a lot of bad movies and books are going to get written. But, like, I admire that in people. The people that, when something like that happens, goes, okay, gotta circle the wagons, because if we don't, something bad's gonna happen, you know? And that was a lot like, same thing when Trump got elected, you know? Like, you could watch certain people kind of go, like, some people went like, oh my god, we're so fucked. And other people, like, didn't say shit. Because it was like, they're, you know, they're moving in the directions they need to move, basically, because they knew it was gonna happen. And I actually felt that way about Trump getting elected. I felt like I had been burned so many times.
Yeah,
that I was like,
you saw it coming.
I knew it. I knew it was going to happen, and I was ready when it happened.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we could sit here and talk about early 2000s politics in the U.S. for a long time, but I think we should really get track.
The other main aspect of this that I can't necessarily speak to specifically through my own experience at all is this is like Conor Oberst's New York album. You know, it's his 1989.
It's his Manhattan.
It's his Manhattan. It's his 1989. And so that's another major factor of it. So it's like,
I fucking hate that you just said that it's his 1989.
I was just imagining a joke about how, like, and it's haunted by the Iraq War, also like Taylor Swift. You know, like,
Must talk in every telephone, get eaten off the web. Must rip out all the epilogues from the books that we have read.
Okay, so at the bottom of everything is the first song on this album.
We talk a lot about how Conor Oberst has like intentionally off-putting openings to his albums. I think this is the most iconic one.
What I love about it is...
He tells a long and wandering story about a plane that crashes, and that's it, basically.
What I love about it is this. You're going to do the folk album. So do the folk intro. Don't do weird noises and radio sounds and everything like that, because that's not what you're talking about on this album.
Plus, he also scratched that itch at the beginning of Digital Ash. There's like subway sounds and all. There's like it's like this is like New York during the day, and that's like New York.
But we do these intros based off of what the album is about. You could not have the album, Firewall, Jeju and Stars. What's the name of that album?
Firewall. That's The People's Key.
The People's Key. You couldn't have the People's Key album be about what it's about if you didn't have that like rambling, crazy, cultish monologue at the beginning.
Right.
So, with this stripped down album, folk album, let's have a folk intro.
I feel like this story, I feel like I loved it immediately when I heard it, but like I mean the way that he says, like, you know, we're going to a party. It's a we all love you very, very, very. That weird, like, slurry thing. It's like that is all like burned in my head so much.
Yes.
feel like I know every syllable and every like grunt of that opening thing.
Well, the one thing, and I think that the what you're saying about how he's saying it is what made one of my notes when I was re-listening to this record is how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sincere would you guys say this intro is? And how much of it do you think is him kind of like providing a meta-narrative of like, oh, I'm being a folk singer
On
now.
a scale of 1 to 10, 5.
Okay.
Like straight
Yeah,
straight down the middle?
Yeah, I actually agree with that because there is, it's very easy for it to be silly.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't. But it could be.
Well,
like
I think
really
it depends on what set of ears you're listening to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there are times when I listen to Conor Oberst and I think he's 80% sincere, and there are times when I listen to him and I think he's 20% sincere. Like but I never think he's one or the other,
right?
Because I can always hear a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. It's I would love to like literally play that song and that intro as the first Bright Eyes song anyone ever heard. Do you think that was the first thing you ever heard? Because did you?
That was 100% the first Bright Eyes song I ever heard. Because I didn't really know anything about Bright Eyes. My best friend in high school was very much invested in Bright Eyes.
Very much.
When I became like very close with him. And he was like, you need to listen. This is the record. You need to listen to it. I went and I went on Spotify and I listened to it. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is really good.
So
I like this.
So you would have actually even heard that story first because it's Spotify as opposed to like haphazardly downloading shit on LimeWire like we did.
Exactly, yeah. That was it. I was very much late to the game
on
Bright Eyes, and then I only kind of stuck with I'm Wide Awake It's Morning for a long time before I actually ventured and went back to, I think from there I went to Fevers and Mirrors and then kind of worked my way back up. And then went back to the even earlier stuff, but
that's kind of like what we're doing on this podcast. We started at Fevers and Mirrors.
Okay,
we've yet to go back to Letting Off the Happiness and a collection of songs. I don't even really know a collection of songs very well.
I don't really either.
It's not like meant to be listened to.
Yeah, it's more of a document than anything. I'm pretty sure that I heard the At the Bottom of Everything first because I got the Motion Sickness record before I got any of the studio albums. That was like.
Fucking what?
The first Bright Eyes record that I heard.
That's crazy.
It's probably just like whatever my local record store had at the time.
Yeah.
Did you already say what the first track was you heard?
I'm pretty sure it's I think it starts with that.
It starts at the bottom of everything, but without the story.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. The live versions of those songs are fucking amazing too.
My father loads his gun. Death will give us back to God, just like the setting sun.
I love this song. I feel like it got me on the wavelength of like kind of dark but upbeat folk pop that I was so like rabidly engaged with for a long time. You know what it made me think of, Morgan? It made me think of when you opened for David Dondero and he got really mad at us because we asked him to play My Fuse Is Lit and we were like so excited about it. It's a very dark song. It's about like kids getting blown up in Iraq and stuff. It's a very dark song. But we were at the age where we were like, yeah, fucking preach it, man. You know, like we were so excited. And he like got mad because he was like, why are you getting excited about my upbeat song about blown up kids? And it's like, well, we're echoing the emotion that you're bringing to this, you son
First
of
of all,
bitch.
it's like maybe the best protest song ever written.
As a human rights worker, they chopped off her head. Embedded reporter, dismembered now and dead.
So here's the thing. He started playing the riff, and everyone in the room, but more importantly, you and I, who were sitting
right in front
this far, and we were like, oh my God, play that song.
Yeah.
And he, like, I think he was just too drunk / years had gone by to pull it off. And so he just didn't play it.
Mm-hmm. But they always use this excuse that it's too emotional, which
Yes.
I maintain forever is
He was
bullshit.
like, I don't know if I could pull it off.
It's always
And
bullshit.
it's like-
When Adrienne Lenker said she couldn't play a song because it was too sad or something, I was like, bullshit, you can't remember the words. When Josh Ritter did the same thing. he wouldn't play the World War III song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he
Wait,
said. He
was
said,
that-
I said, I can't, I don't think I can play that. He's like, you can't remember the words.
Yeah, by the
You're
way,
pretending it's too
it's
emotional.
because it's 40 minutes long.
But it's, here's what, and by the way, as a Conor Oberst fan, here's why I always think it's bullshit. Conor Oberst has about 7 songs about his dead brother already, and he sings them every goddamn night.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, and I mean his actual dead brother, not his, he used to have songs about his fake dead
Right.
brother. Now he has songs about his real dead brother, and he sings them every night. And he doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying Conor Oberst is a sociopath, but it doesn't show.
On a brief aside, is that what Poison Oak is about?
No,
No,
that was,
no.
his brother died recently.
No,
His
no,
brother
no,
died-
I know, but
Oh.
his fake brother or whatever. Like
Oh, no, I actually think that's about someone else who really died.
okay,
Yeah.
alright. Interesting.
And Poison Oak, well, never mind. We're not
We'll get
going
to
to...
Poison
Yeah,
Oak.
yeah.
I do want to point out that the first like actual lyrics of the album past the intro are the we must talk on every telephone getting off the web. I think that it's a signifier of how influential this record was in terms of the way that we interact with our relationship to technology, our relationship to, you know, like, and also like the way that you said that this record is a lot about drugs and alcohol. I think it's similarly about television. It's about cameras. It's about telephones. It's about how we're now taking in all of this like very real world shit. Take 9/11 for example.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's viewing that through a TV screen, and the relationship that we have with that, and that's why I think that this is a really postmodern record, and it's also probably the most time authentic Bush record, and I think the best Bush record because it takes those things into account, and it's not just this like empty rallying cry like American Idiot or something would be, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of like a, you know, like rah rah, like just general kind of like let's get the people going, instead of like really looking at like what makes this social revolution different from past ones, you know. And I think so much of it is because you have to examine the technology that was a part of it.
To the ear of every anarchist that sleeps but doesn't dream, we must sing, we must sing, we must sing.
In terms of my celebrity sightings for this track, Jim James is on backing vocals.
Yep.
Okay.
And in the music video, the girl in the story at the beginning is played by Evan Rachel Wood.
Wow.
Weird. That's actually one thing that I wish that he had, like, given a shit about his videos. Like, I really feel like he just didn't.
There are very few good Conor Oberst videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just,
Four Winds.
Oh, I wasn't thinking Four Winds. Four Winds is actually good. I was thinking about the Digital Ash one, where he's writing on the plastic.
Oh, yeah,
on
he's
the-
like
That's the
the
first
glass.
Friday song I ever heard. I remember seeing that video first before anything.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's-
really?
Yeah.
So, Take It Easy.
Easy Lucky Free.
Yeah, that's it.
What about the While My Father Waters Plants, or While My Mother Waters Plants, My Father Lives His Gum? That part. What do you get from that?
That's like, I feel like that's Conor Oberst at his, like, probably most, like, inauthentic, but I love that lyric.
Okay.
Like, there's no way Conor Oberst, that's like, Conor Oberst does not have a dad who would be, like, loading his gun.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
So it's just, I like it, I think. But
it's
one of those-
it's his bit about an American dad. I mean, that's what it is. You know, as much as he may mean more elsewhere, like the scope of it is like, you know, my mother waters plants while my father loads his gun. It doesn't need to be like necessarily some sort of legitimate, meaningful, like global feeling. It's more about an American family, right?
I would say
mean,
but the second chorus of that song, it resonates with me a lot more strongly. Like the city buses. How's it start?
We just sang it
so
earlier.
We just sang it.
So
Oh, my morning's coming back. The whole world's waking up. City
Yeah.
buses streaming past. I'm happy just because I found out I am really no one.
that is I listened to that line today and I felt a pretty heavy grasp of that, because I feel like I am struggling with, on the topic of like Music 5, like the
Oh,
like,
you're talking about the podcast episode. I was like, what is Music
yeah, the
5?
last episode. Your last episode?
Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
Well,
don't
I
know.
think it's a similar kind of death of self a little bit. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
right. So really where I was at with a lot of that is, like, I feel like Zach as an artist can bounce around in a lot of different directions. And I feel like I am often trapped in one bit because, like, okay, so what am I at my core? I'm this folk singer, minimalist musician because I have very few other musicians around me a lot of the time. I'm like trapped in the idea that I've studied folk music for 15 years. It's been important to me my whole life, and I legitimately have like college courses behind like some of that knowledge. So I feel like I often want to mix things up and do more, but I'm not able to without it being like a quality thing.
Okay.
So like, because I feel like I like fail at those other aspects of things. I'm good at this one thing. I'm a folk singer. I've never really felt this death of self thing before. And I'm starting to kind of feel it. Mostly because my...
You do. It's the return of Saturn.
Well, I was going to say it's also the idea that when we talk about creative energy put in other directions, a lot of my creative energy is put into the restaurant now. And before, I was still cooking and I still had a passion for it, but I just didn't feel actually drained by it. And now I do. And I feel like there's less of that thing for other things, for other projects, because the job is so much more of my creative side than it has been before.
That's something we talk about all the time that I'm always so curious about because I use very little creative effort at
work. Yeah.
And I have been saying that sometimes I feel like that was not smart and maybe I should do something that's more...
I dream about that, to be honest with you.
About what? Having a job where you don't have to put any creative effort into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real. I do.
Well, not only that, but also just literally physical effort.
Yeah.
You know? I have to work hard. I have to go get on a goddamn tread desk 3 times a day. So that I don't just sit at a desk for 8 hours. But, you know, just like thinking, just like in my head the whole day. You know, I forget to put on music sometimes.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm just like, there's just this... Whatever I'm thinking about, just like this loop happening in my head all day. And that's a luxury to be able to have that. So but I wonder sometimes now about like having a creative career, you know, and how that would be different now. I think it would have been a bad idea for me in my 20s, but in my 30s, sometimes it seems like maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. It's hard. But I don't know. I know Conor Oberst is very interested in... He has about 10 million different variations on this lyric. The Found Out I'm Really No One. I Hope I'm Forgotten When I Die. That's another one.
Yeah.
Which I remember the moment that I got that one. Because for the longest time, that was not how I felt at all. I was like, I want to leave so much shit. You know, like there's gotta be just like shit about mine, just like scattered all over the internet. You know, just like scattering.
I'm still in that. I'm still in that mode for sure.
And now I'm like, I want it to all go away.
I'm not in that. I'm not there yet.
You know, I want Arlo to be able to find it on like a hard drive or something. You know, but that's about it.
I have trouble seeing things on YouTube that say 10 years old or something like that, you know?
It's crazy
because it's like this shouldn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
There should be some sort of funnel of like in Thor Ragnarok, the devil's anus. There should be the devil's anus of the internet where like after a certain amount of time it just disappears and it's just on some planet somewhere and it exists but it's just not on.
But why would you want that if you're still in the phase where you want all your stuff to be on the internet?
Because my stuff is bad.
I feel that way about
because my
old
music
Tumblr
is fucking
account.
Bad. That's why.
Do you know how to the password to it or something?
So the email account associated with
let it die.
Tumblr,
whatever it is, let it die.
Oh, I wish I could.
You can't.
I wish I could delete it.
Yeah.
I can't. It's stuck on Tumblr until Tumblr deletes it because the email account associated with it was my college email address. I do not have access to that college email address.
You lost.
And then when I went to try and change the password for it, they said that they couldn't change the password for it because even the school doesn't have access to my college email address because my school doesn't exist anymore. But so now my Tumblr from started in 2010, stopped using it. I think 2015 maybe is the last post on there. It just exists on the internet. and I really wish it didn't.
Every couple years, don't they add another hyphen blog to the
I think they
URL?
do. It's not necessarily an easy thing to find, and I'm certainly not going to plug it, but I wish that's the one thing I think that I wish I could get rid of. I used to be really into YouTube when like I was in 7th grade, until some kid in 7th grade made fun of me for being on YouTube, and I deleted everything like off of what was at the time my mom's laptop. And so there's none of that. I kind of wish I still had that, because it was very much like me coming into being creative. But
Well, I mean, I think that it's a question that basically like every modern creative has to ask themselves, because you're, you know, like when you're younger, it's like you want everybody to hear everything you're doing because you think you're incredible.
yeah.
And I think that now that there are permanent artifacts of that, we have to ask ourselves, you know, like what our relationships are to the past art that we make, because it can't go away like that. But you know, it's like most songwriters have 10 years before their first records come out, but it's like now all of that is public. So you know,
What you have to do. This is what I have found, because there are certain things I can't delete there, but luckily they're very minor. I can't get rid of the McCain Truth Project. That one's stuck. I can't get rid of the Righteous TV YouTube channel. That one I have no access to. And I think there's another YouTube channel that has like my cartoons for BEFHCL and stuff on it. I can't get rid of that. But you just ride the wave. So like 5 years out, you hate it. You look back and you're like, this is the most embarrassing thing in the world. 3 years after that, you look back and you're like, I kind of like that, actually. 5 years after that, you hate it again. 3 years after that, you love it again.
I think it's kind of unfair of you to do that, which is funny, because I think I often think of myself as more of just a fan of yours than anything else, because the thing is that, like, I think it's unfair of you to want to delete those things, that at least all of it or something, because those things are important to me as like a fan of yours.
Well, I won't.
Let's say I'm sitting here talking about your art, and I'm like, oh man, back in the day he used to do this awesome animated show called Rock and Sock and Robot. Like you should let that exist.
I don't plan on deleting anything that I alone am responsible for. I have unlisted certain YouTube videos that I feel like I no longer stand by.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
But they're just little minor ones. But like, Angry Films On is currently unlisted. We're gonna put some stuff up because we're hitting a 10-year anniversary. But that is more out of deference to like the careers of people like Josh and stuff.
Sure.
Who don't need his name. You search his name, get him joking about being a pedophile, you know? Like, that's
sure.
way more about them than it is about... It's me trying to just protect my friends a little bit.
I get that, for sure.
I have never suffered adverse consequences in my career for the things that I've said online. I have no reason to fear it. So I don't. But I do feel a kind of, like, gratitude toward a lot of the people online who have expressed their appreciation of things that I do, and yeah, I wouldn't do it to them, you know? I just don't really want to keep doing it. Like, that's the thing. I just don't, for now, I don't really want to keep doing it. I want to do this, I want to do podcast stuff, and I want to do whatever else. You know?
I like that you're like you've kind of based your you've always been up on what's hot as far as the internet is concerned.
I'm always a little bit too early,
culture.
it's a little bit too late.
Not popular culture, but yeah, what's like you were the person that told me what Twitter was. You were the person that showed me YouTube. You were the person that was creating these things early on. I think that's important for a lot of reasons.
That's the funniest thing. There's an old clip of Righteous TV, like when we finished, like we were graduating high school, we did like a live event.
Oh, I remember watching that.
And at one point I say to the audience, I say like, hey, so have you guys heard of this website YouTube? And you get like 2 claps.
That's funny.
And it's like so, and it's
That's
like
crazy.
It's not a joke. The first time I heard it sounded like a joke. Like, hey, you guys know this thing Google? Hey,
Yeah,
you heard about Google?
yeah.
No, and I'm like, so there's this website called YouTube. People are like, oh, I think I saw a news story about that. Yeah, but yeah, YouTube.
So I mean, like we can just continue jabbering on, but let's really try and nail down some tracks.
Yeah, we're gonna.
We are nowhere, and it's now.
first thought with this song is that like this is really the best proof of this being the best sounding Bright Eyes record.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
like the
Totally.
that mandolin comes in right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's such a characteristic sound, and it's also like the balance between how direct and dry everything sounds with the really present like room sound behind everything. It's just like it really sounds so much more mature, and like nothing is really being masked up. Everything is complementing each other. You know, like really, in my opinion, like outside of just songwriting, like sonically, their best work. You know,
it's funny when I was just listening to this album yesterday. I listened to At the Bottom of Everything, then We Are Nowhere and It's Now came on, and I went, God, what a string of hits at the beginning of this album.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, it goes unbroken for, the whole album.
Every single song is a jam. And the bit with it is, you know what is especially funny is that Poison Oak seems out of place in my mind.
I've heard people say that.
Like, it seems a little weird because even though it's very Conor Oberst and very Bright Eyes, in the rest of this album, it's like, it just seems, it's like, especially because it comes right before
Road to Joy.
Joy, it's like,
Is it because it gets big in that like operatic lifted way? Is that
I honestly don't even know. I think it's the tone of the song. I think it's everything.
Huh.
It does get into a jam, but it just doesn't seem like on the same wavelength as everything else.
I have a theory that Poison Oak is actually the inverse of this song. We Are Nowhere and It's Now. They're in the same key. They have similar places in their respective sides of the track list, and also there's literal like harmonic and melodic motifs that are shared between the two songs.
Interesting.
I don't really have a theory in terms of the lyrics.
There's a lyrical motif. This is where it sets up the idea of what a yellow bird is. But
Yes, that's true.
You don't know
Oh,
what the
you're
yellow
right.
bird is about until Poison Oak.
Shit. All right, we cracked the code.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I didn't know they were in the same key. That's interesting.
One that just really, for some reason, I just love the way that it's set up is early in it's the second line where he's talking about
And if you swear that there's no truth, and who cares? How come you say it like you're right?
like you're right.
Yeah.
Like the whole beginning setup of if you hate the taste of wine, how come you drink it till you're blind? Like, there's just some really great simple turn of phrase within this song.
Yeah, it's like reflected by the melody too, because it's just like
Because it's a really simple melody.
do.
I really actually love the
do.
simplicity of what he does here throughout the album.
Yeah.
He really knows how to make this album, and it shows because it's like he doesn't do the things that like the traps that you'd fall into with a folk album, big choruses, big huge like choir choruses or something like that. He doesn't do it, but with this song, it's just I really love, especially at the end of the song. She took a small silver wreath and pinned it onto me and said, "This one will bring you love."
And she took a small silver wreath and pinned it onto me. She said, "This one will bring you love." And I don't know if it's true, but I keep it for good luck.
That is gorgeous.
And that's another
And
one of those like universal specific
Universal,
things.
yes.
It's so
exactly.
specific, but it makes you think of something else that happened to you, maybe.
And it makes me feel like myself.
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, yeah, I do keep those things for good luck.
And it's helped along by the way, this is kind of huge, Emmylou fucking Harris.
Yeah.
Huge part of this record for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it was so
huge part of
surprising
him, it
to me.
seems like.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew Conor Oberst better. I didn't really know Emmylou Harris, and it was it took some adjusting to like get used to his voice and her voice together because she like brings this gravitas in that you didn't know Conor Oberst needed. You know,
I think it also you could argue that it's kind of a torch passing moment a little bit. It's really the first time where he seems like he's legitimized in like the folk pantheon. You know,
Yeah.
that he's actually getting a legend like her on the record. Just outside, apart from the fact that it's such a beautiful pairing of people. You know?
I cannot verify this fact, but I am pretty sure they just let Emmylou Harris pick which song she wanted to sing backing vocals on, and so, her choices mostly make sense. Another Traveling Song is a strange choice, but she's like, this song kind of needs something else.
We took great pride in the Emmylou Harris bit of Conor Oberst, where when this album came out, we were like finally people are getting it. This guy's fucking amazing. Like,
and I remember we played Landlocked Blues for Mom and Bill, and they were like, "Oh, I like this." And it was like the first time I'd ever liked music that my parents also liked, because before that I was listening to like Blink-182. It would be nice to get a blowjob. It would be, you know, like my dad would come in like, "What the fuck are you listening to?"
I remember you saying to our father that you wanted the live album by Blink-182, and when he asked him what he said, "Take off your pants and jacket," because that's the name of the album. And my father like spit up his beer when he heard the name of the album.
He was gonna pick it up for me at Stay Tuned.
There's always been really funny things with our dad about explaining things like when it leads into like some sort of sexual aspect of things. Because like I remember my dad, the guy who was ratting on Nixon through Watergate was named Deep Throat. Mm-hmm. And Deep Throat came out towards the end of his life and said, "I was this guy. I was the one who I don't remember his name." So I'm sitting with my father in his 7th grade English classroom, and I'm standing there talking to him, and I go, "But Deep Throat's like a porn thing, isn't it? Like, what is that about?" And my dad was like, "Well, it's like a term for when a girl can fit your whole cock in her mouth." That's what he said. And I remember being like, "Hey, what a gross way to describe something." And also, gross.
It is weird that he was called Deep Throat, because Deep Throat was in theaters at the time, and it was like a big deal because like mainstream normies were going to see a rated X movie.
Yeah.
And so that was like, it was like a big... I don't even know what it would be like now. It would be like if there was a political leaker that was like named after a Game of Thrones character or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That is a weird aspect of things. Like, why would they nickname that person that?
I didn't even realize... I guess I don't know too much about it, but I know that whenever I think of Deep Throat, I thought it was in reference to like some sort of voice manipulation.
Oh, interesting.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You've never heard
and
that
I think,
before?
and you know what? Now
Actually,
that I think
that
about
makes
it,
sense because, like, any time that they what were their names? The two reporters
Woodward
there,
and Bernstein.
Woodward and Bernstein. Like, any time that they kind of described the meetings with him, it was like where he would like kind of hang out in the shadows, right? And like kind of like that's where that classic bit comes from, where like you meet in a parking garage and the person's
what
like,
I remember of Deep Throat, and this is really specific, but
I saw Nixon.
the Hey Arnold full-length movie has a character very reminiscent of Deep Throat. And I want to say it's one of the kids from the show, but it references that, and they use like a voice changer, and it's very deep. And
it's one of the fat kid, isn't it?
I honestly don't even.
I sort of remember that.
That's such a
that's what I think of when I think of Watergate.
That show's very perverted. That kid on the kid on Hey Arnold.
He's got the dick and balls eyes.
His face is the dick and balls.
Yeah, his face is the dick and balls.
Hat and the boots.
Yeah. So, I remember seeing, I want to say it was this song that they played on, maybe it was like Austin City Limits, and M. Ward was playing a resonator guitar and like did not fucking know the song. And like, it's so funny because
that sounds familiar.
It's like this beautiful song,
I remember that
and then
performance.
It's like M. Ward is just like fucking it up in the background. You're like, I love you, M. Ward, but man, you gotta step down for this one.
It's weird how this album, because of its length of popularity there, like it's weird how like they had Monsters of Folk tour where they were performing these songs.
I think it was even, it was like the Monsters of Folk tour happened, then this album came out, and then I think M. Ward was just on tour with him for a while again. Feist was also on that tour for a while.
Right.
And then eventually the Monsters of Folk proper album came out later, but that was like a whole separate cycle.
So, Old Soul Song
parentheses for the New World Order.
Gray light, new day leaks through the window. An old soul song comes on the alarm clock radio.
Are there only 2 Conor Oberst songs in the world that have parenthetical titles, and one's on Digital Ash?
I also don't like that it has that for the New World Order like attached to it, because it just is unnecessary.
Well, also, New World Order is like a term now that has become so associated with like
Wrestling.
well, yeah, wrestling originally, but now like weird internet racists.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Well, so anyway.
I was really glad. I was just watching Black Panther again. I'm really glad that Killmonger never uses that phrase, but I always like when he says the world's gonna start over. It was badass. I love Killmonger. Christy was just saying it really sucks. That spoiler alert for Black Panther. It sucks that Killmonger doesn't live because the perfect thing is a sequel where Killmonger and Black Panther have to team up because some extra bad guy shows up. Like a Hannibal Lecter type deal.
Sure.
That's the ultimate in an awesome villain, is that awesome villain comes back as kind of good guy.
They are theorizing Thanos being almost on the Avengers' side at times if there was another greater power that came into play, like a Galactus or somebody
There's
like
precedent for that these days in mainstream adaptations of shit because they're doing it on The Walking Dead.
Who gives a fuck about The Walking
The
Dead?
guy, I stopped watching The Walking Dead a while ago, but I get the sense that the guy who bashed Steven Yeun's head in is like becoming a more sympathetic character. It's like if you can pull that shit off.
I think you're long past that. I think that probably happened like 2 years ago.
I don't know how.
I'm under the impression that like everyone is dead on The Walking Dead except for Norman Reedus.
Most of them are leaving.
All right, so listen. Old Soul Song is the song that Nate Walcott announces his presence to the universe.
With that trumpet.
And all the cosmic beings, you know. The eternity, dream, they all bow their heads in acknowledgement of him.
This is the song that really also brought home for me this idea that, like, Iraq War, formative teenage political years, like, because this song is just about, like, going to a protest with, like, a girl that you like.
I know that I know that I'm the one who keeps bringing up how gorgeous lyrics, like the first lyrics of things are, but Gray light, new day leaks through the window.
An Old Soul song comes on the alarm clock radio.
Like,
Killer!
Come on. This is just songwriting at its fucking finest, right?
The one part that I trip on a little bit is because I love so much when he sings, like, and just when I get so lonesome I can't speak.
I can't speak!
Love that. I'm a little like, I see some flowers on a hillside like a wall of
Oh
UTVs.
no, you don't like that?
I do like it, but I feel like a little weird about it.
And just when I get so lonesome I can't speak, I see some flowers on a hillside like a wall of new TVs.
I had a note about it.
Okay.
And I related that line to the like walk the block to my favorite neon sign or whatever. I can't remember what song that's in, but like he
the track before.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So because he's playing the folk singer on this one, I think that he's kind of turning what would be pretty usually like pastoral imagery in like a Woody Guthrie song or something on its head into this kind of like road to nowhere kind of, or no, what's the Talking Head song? Nothing But Flowers. Or
Nothing
whatever.
But Flowers. Yeah.
Where
man, great song.
where he makes these like very like poetic phrases out of these really like what we would consider grotesque images of like, you know, like brand new TVs or big signs for something. I think it was your pen maybe.
Oh really?
I
just wasn't.
There was someone that fell. I didn't see exactly what.
Oh well.
But I noticed that line as being again playing into the mission statement of the record. I think.
Yeah, I think that maybe the reason that I bump on it a little bit is because it's like intentionally like this lyrical inversion that calls attention to itself. But yeah, I also just want to appreciate the drums. This is the first double drum set song, and
you can tell because it's like hard panned, right? Like
there's a
especially
lot of panning going on.
Yeah,
especially with the fills.
Clark Backley and Jason Bozell are the two drummers. Clark Backley's in The Faint, Jason Bozell's in Rilo Kiley.
Cool. Right.
And they're both awesome drummers. Jason Bozell's like one of my favorite drummers. And I originally thought it was just him because it just sounds so much like his style. Like if you listen to the Rilo Kiley album, More Adventurous, it's like there's a very strong mark on that album. And he goes on to play with Conor Oberst for a long time, but this is the first album that he plays with him. And so it's very like Jason Bozell announcing himself, a lot of those fills. I love that shit.
I didn't know that prior to this, but that makes a lot of sense with my knowledge of Rilo Kiley.
Yeah. Great drummer.
Yeah, wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Great drummer. He, is in Mystic Valley Band. Also has, like, a pretty good solo career, Jason Bozell. Huh. He's kind of like Jacob Dylan-y, like this kind of like laid-back, folky guy. He has a low voice.
Difference is Time on.
He that song? He does sing
on the Conor Oberst Mystic Valley Band albums.
Actually, yeah, not top of my head.
You guys listen to the Mystic Valley Band albums?
I have a couple of times.
He also sings on. He also sings on.
Eagle on a Pole.
Break Man Turns My Way on Casadega.
He sings on.
Yeah, the Moving Out.
That's Jason Bozell.
Yeah,
I've never known that.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it's weird when Conor Oberst starts using male backing vocals in Casadega, because for the longest time he's always been, other than the occasional Andy LeMaster.
We got the Jim James one on this.
Yeah, that's
a couple on
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jim James' voice is not.
I guess that's
male
the thing.
based.
That's what it is. He always because Andy LeMaster's got a high voice too.
He does.
He always uses these very high voices, and so when suddenly you start to hear like another like low male voice, you're like, this is interesting, and this is a fun new thing for Conor Oberst to play with. Yeah. But the drums in particular in Old Soul Song build up so like slowly and effectively. I think that's like the secret to that song.
Yeah.
That one fill right before the bridge where everything kind of drops out, but the drums filling is like incredibly powerful. Yeah. Especially when it's paired with all this like riot imagery and stuff too.
Yeah, it makes me think of the timpani solo I used to have to play in when we did the Pirates of the Caribbean song in our high school band. I also just wanted to shout out Nick White remember we said, Morgan, that we were probably never going to talk about Tilly and the Wall again on this show? Nick White
I don't remember saying that, but okay.
we were saying we got to talk about Tilly and the Wall because we might never get a chance again. But Nick White is on like every single Bright Eyes album, playing like keyboards, organ, Rhodes, whatever. And he's the male lead singer in Tilly and the Wall. Huh. And he's great. He is like the secret hidden weapon of this album. There's all this like splashy mandolin and trumpet going on, but there's just like really solid keyboard, piano work.
There is, especially in Old Soul Song with that little breakdown. Mm-hmm. Dun 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 dun. Like that keyboard and drum sound is something that is like never heard like that perfectly. Mm-hmm. It just pops in for this 2-second moment. And you're like, oh, that was perfect. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that breakdown.
I love a good, thick piano chord, man. And every time. Something just like a simple progression.
I like that, like, the bass in all of Landlocked Blues is just piano chords.
Oh, yeah.
They do have an upright bass, it sounds, but it's like absolute minimal.
It only really comes in
just one note. Yeah. And then, like, that piano bass chords for the trumpet stuff and everything like that is just so perfectly placed.
My favorite part instrumentally of Old Soul Song is the guitar fill. It's like where it goes like a note above where the scale's supposed to be, and it's so characteristic and just like gives it this really like modal sound to it. Hopefully you cut to it in the episode. But do you know the part I'm talking about?
Yeah, now I'm gonna have to.
I feel like I can't place what you're talking about specifically.
I can't do that. It's in the intro part or whatever. It's like exactly halfway through it.
Oh, and then it goes
guitar part. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got that.
We got it.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it easier on myself with clips, but I'll cut in that.
I've tried doing that in the past, and he just edits out whenever I say, cut to this part.
I like sometimes when Morgan and I will just like riffing start singing a song, and then I'll play the clip.
Yeah, I love that.
And it like matches up perfectly. I'm like, damn, we nailed it.
Yeah. I am not one that feels that I have any sort of anything close to perfect pitch. Like I am, like my guitar is constantly out of tune. You know what was cracking me up in Music 5 is you play the Modern Man in General.
Yeah.
And like so many people on YouTube fucking ripped me up for my guitar being out of tune for those songs, and I was like, fuck you guys, like it's no big, whatever. I'm sorry that D string's out of whack. Like we're in the middle of a street and it's wicked fucking cold outside. Like that being said, I'm not the best tuner. Like constantly, Pudo in the middle of a show leaned over to me in the middle of it and he was like, "That's the most out of tune guitar I've ever heard in my life."
I remember one time, okay, this is a weird deep cut, talks about tuning guitars. I remember in the music video for Smells Like Teen Spirit, at one point, Kurt Cobain, like, plays a note and then, like, adjusts the, like, knob on the guitar. And I was like, does he actually do that kind of thing where he, like, plays a note then, like, drops it down a note, like, with the... I could never figure out what he was doing, and I'm still not sure. Because obviously it's a music video, so, like, the guitar wasn't plugged in, so, like, how could he tell it was out of tune? I don't know. It's a mystery. Can't ask Kurt Cobain.
High on heroin, that's
selling
why.
the realism.
Which actually, I talked about some of my favorite music videos. I kind of forgot to mention that I loved a lot of early Weezer videos, because one of my favorites was the Weezer video for El Scorcho, because they literally deliberately stopped playing instruments at different times. Or maybe it's a Sweater song, too. Yeah, in the Sweater song, they stop playing, or, like, the drummer will, like, get up and, like, walk around his drum set, and the drums are still playing. And as I was doing, like, music video math, I was like, oh, yeah, because they're not really playing.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to me.
Wasn't the video for El Scorcho the one that they, like, all bitched about and stuff? God,
No.
Weezer is just fucking awful,
Island
right?
of the Sun.
Yeah.
They shot two videos for Island of the Sun because they didn't like the first one.
El
El
Scorcho
Scorcho is
remember the ones with the light?
It's
It's
Mark
what's-
Romanek.
Mark
directed
Romanek.
it. Yeah.
They were not happy about the fact that Weezer was spelled wrong in the lights and stuff.
Huh.
And, like, he was like, it's a funny joke that your band spelled, it's like Weirez or something.
Yeah.
And they were, like, all pissed about it.
That's
And he
funny.
was like, it's no big deal. It's just it's like a funny joke.
Yeah.
And they, like, didn't like it.
I love Mark Romanek's music videos.
And I hate Weezer.
The older I get, the more that I cannot stand anything
Well, the
that
thing
they
with
do.
the thing with Weezer is that they have two amazing albums. It's the Blue Album and Pinkerton.
Yes.
And, like, just let those be what it is.
Yeah.
That's the problem with, like, people and their art.
They can't just...
When they
can't quit.
create that perfect thing, when you paint your masterpiece, like, no one tells
Like
you
J.D. Salinger.
that's your masterpiece. Don't
J.D.
keep
Salinger
painting.
was like, fuck it, I'm done. And
Yeah, which is really
and
cool.
everyone hates J.D. Salinger because he did that. And
I
now
don't.
he's- now
I think
he's
it's
dead,
cool
they're
as
gonna-
hell.
They're going to release his unwritten, you know.
Well, you could argue J.D. Salinger was done because his wife was committed and he couldn't steal any ideas from her.
Uh-huh.
But that's a conspiracy. We don't necessarily need to get
I
into
didn't
that.
watch
Our
that
friend,
documentary, but I...
That's
Our
a
friend-
whole thing.
Our friend Brian went to Dartmouth, and Brian used to wait on J.D. Salinger in the coffee shop that he worked in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right?
Huh.
Pretty fucking cool, huh?
That's crazy.
Brian has lived a very awesome life. He's a very interesting guy.
Brian's got a couple of I'm Wide Awake It's Morning type songs in his back in his life. He told me a story one time about waking up on a highway median.
Yeah, yeah.
On a
Yeah.
highway median?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like woke up in the mid, like what? Like I'm thinking a cab driver threw him out of a car. That's my guess.
Okay,
remember-
Lua.
Lua?
Speaking of
Yeah.
drunk nights on trains.
I know that it is freezing, but I think we have to walk.
I think that was the first Conor Oberst song to ever be released. That's like just two guitars and vocals, basically.
It's very. I think it speaks to. I've never, as a songwriter, I've never written a song that could be so universal when talking about a really simple thing or something like that. Everything he describes in it is very, like, you could feel a personal connection to, despite it being about Conor Oberst living in the city and doing drugs with some woman. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like-
what do you think? It's anything can stem.
There's got to be at least one lyric somewhere on this album for like every single person who has
Yes.
lived longer than 20 years that like triggers a very specific memory.
Yeah.
You know? Like somewhere on the album for everybody. Everybody has at least their one.
I think this song is that for me, where and even I would have a few references for it. I think where like sometimes this song makes me think of like a bad relationship that I had, whereas when I was 22, I had a friend pass away who at his funeral they played a bunch of Bright Eyes songs, and then at the time I was working at a Starbucks and Lua was on a playlist at Starbucks. So I would hear it at work all the time, and it would just make me think of when I was at my friend's funeral.
Sure.
So that was like very dark. I guess either way, whenever like the things that I associate with this song are like fairly dark times of my life, but like I don't know.
I used to think Lua was about bulimia.
I think I remember you've mentioned
Keep going
that
to
to
the
me
bathroom,
before.
see, I'll be right back. Well, takes one to know one, kid. I think you got it bad.
And I can
was
see
like,
where
wow,
you
Conor
get
Oberst
that. Yeah,
also has
okay.
bulimia. Okay.
If Patrick Stickles had written this song, it would have.
Just keep going to the bathroom, always say you'll be right back. Well, it takes one to know one, kid. I think you got it bad. But what's so easy in the evening, by the morning, such a drag.
A big part of the discussion about drugs and alcohol in On Watergate It's Morning is kind of in this like limbo space where he's reflecting on it while he's still using it. So it's like not being ready to take it out of your life yet, but still feeling like you're an authority on it, where you can talk down to people about it, and also recognizing that. I don't think he's I don't think that's beyond him though. Like kind of irony in that.
Well, and Conor Oberst certainly is one that can write about that.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about Digital Ash, I think about the song "Hit the Switch," and he's sitting at a table. He says, "I'm completely alone at a table of friends," and he's talking about drinking. And he's talking about like all these things that really like resonate with you as an abuser, because we all do that. Mm-hmm. If you've ever had a drink in your life, if you're ever like the type of person that wants to use these things as any sort of medication, like you get everything that Conor Oberst writes. Mm-hmm. You're like, I understand this to a T. Right. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you feel like you've gone down that rabbit hole with him is one thing, but like you definitely feel it, and you definitely are like, yeah, that easily could have been me. But I think that On Watergate It's Morning is about telling you that it's all right, and that we kind of all live this life.
There was definitely an element of that, like when watching Conor Oberst play these songs to crowds. I'm always interested in how other people hear this stuff, because I mostly experience it internally. And so, outside of a podcast about Bright Eyes, when you can ask other people, you don't normally get that except for just watching other people. Yeah. And that was definitely like, I think that's something that that what you're talking about is something that I didn't really identify with until I saw other people identifying with it. And then I got it.
Yeah, sure.
I think Lua also marks a shift in the track list, where the first few tracks are a little bit more overt about social commentary and about like the way that we're perceiving wartime and protest and like all of this stuff. And I think that Lua and then the tracks that follow it are kind of viewing that sort of like helplessness in the face of all of these giant things when you're a young person, like on a more micro level, on a more personal level. And I think that the last third of the record is kind of combining the two in a certain way. Maybe not Poison Oak as much, but Road to Joy is definitely like that.
Road to Joy and Landlocked Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that we have like several different, not competing, but coordinating theories of this album.
Well, it's a layered record. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in it.
Well,
do they still write those 33 and a third books about albums? Because can we collectively author one?
Sure, yeah. Because it's like, I do feel like a lot of it's about like a lot of people take political things away from this album. I don't really. I mean, I do. Because it's so shoved in your face.
But like
things like Road to Joy.
Those other layers of it speak to you more
More,
strongly.
much more. You know, because of who I am as a person.
Right.
I'd agree with that too.
And it's really relevant now because it's like, I mean, I was thinking of this, that like, I mean, if this came out when he was 24, he's probably writing it when he was 23. I'm 23 right now. So this is the closest Bright Eyes record to my current age.
Yeah.
And I think that in the Trump age, even though it's, different from the Bush years, like, I think that you're kind of simultaneously suffering on a macro level with the society you're in and a micro level on just your own shit, and seeing how they kind of relate to each other. I think that he talks about it a lot in this record, and I think that it's just as applicable today.
Yeah, I have trouble with the idea of I do struggle now as a like, I find it very difficult to watch the news. I think most people do, but I mean, like, I legitimately just don't at this point.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, I'm also finding one of the things that they talked about when Trump got elected was, like, accepting this as normal is not a thing. Like, you need to not accept it as normal.
The word normalize was, like, everywhere forever.
But here's the thing with that. Like, life is normal right now for us. Because we're white. But because us as Americans are not, like, in the group of, like, I feel very shit upon as, like, a person who has a lot of chronic illnesses. I feel like I've been taken advantage of in the idea that, like, our capitalist society takes advantage of the poor. They want to keep you poor. They want to keep you sick. They want to keep you as an indentured servant to the country. That being said, I don't think that that's Donald Trump's fault.
No.
There are a lot of things that are his fault. But I also think of that Avett Brothers line where he says, where your life doesn't change by the man that's elected. That is not true for a lot of people. People who are here illegally, who are here as a minority. I will say that I have a very much, like, bra-burning protester fiance who would definitely not claim things are the same, But all that being said, I love that you address the album as, like, a Bush years album.
I never thought
because I don't think of it like that. But I love that you do.
I do. It's funny. So this is like, it's
because
like,
I think that you would too.
Mackenzie and I have this political.
I think you would too.
And you guys have this personal read on it.
It's actually really great. It's, like, nice to have where we have this 4-person discussion where you and I have had this continued conversation. But then we open it up to, and, like, the simplest question is, when was the first time you heard Conor Oberst? But then it just stems from so much more.
Yeah, it makes sense that you wouldn't see it as a Bush because you encountered it in the Obama years.
I think that's the context of it was everything for me. Where, like, I viewed it through the lens of someone who is in Obama's second term, who doesn't necessarily have a lot of huge political opinions at the time because I was, like, 17, 18, and I viewed it more from, like, I was very into, like, pop punk and emo bands at the time, and so to be introduced to Bright Eyes through that, I'm thinking of it solely from a, like, how do I relate to this emotionally?
Right.
And it definitely spoke to 18-year-old Tyler in ways that when I listen to it now, I get completely different things out of it. But it was interesting because you had brought it up before we came here about how you viewed it a lot through the lens of, like, the Bush era and how it relates to that, and I find that to be a very interesting viewpoint on the record because that's so foreign from my experience with it.
Well, I mean, also like when we were talking about like normalization earlier, I think that's like that's a really like tricky thing to talk about because it's like whilst I think that it is important to realize that we are in kind of a sea change moment and we're not in the exact same country that we were beforehand. I think that it's also really naive where a lot of capital L like John Oliver liberals are kind of looking at Trump as more of this like boogeyman figure that like what if Hillary was president, it'd be so much different and things like that, where it's like we do kind of have to recognize that like a lot of it is kind of the result of years and years and years and years of like capitalist manipulation that like led to Trump being able to turn people into basically neo-fascists and shit, and I think that it's also like important with this record because I think he's commenting on that. He's commenting about how Bush's use of kind of emotional manipulation in the wake of 9/11 and stuff, like in a subtle way, influenced these lyrics, and that you kind of have to take everything with this kind of bizarre humor, take everything with this, the understanding of the medium it's being represented on, of how people now know your emotional responses to things, and and I think that's almost where I hear it more as a political record, where it's one of the first political records that really deals with sort of the insincerity of a lot of people who are, arguing on that side or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
I think it took me such a long time to see that, too, about what was happening politically. Mm-hmm. And it was here. I just didn't pick up on it. I should have listened to Conor Oberst more. I had, I had a very facile political outlook in high school. When I had to register for selective service to get financial aid for college, I got my draft number or whatever, and I wrote it on my arm in big black letters, and I was like, this is what the government thinks of me, I'm just a barcode, and my teachers were like, awesome, because I was like a caricature.
Right.
And I got that from Conor Oberst pretty much exclusively. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to kind of build on that understanding, because I skated pretty far on the surface understanding, it's only now am I realizing how easily I just made it through a lot of shit. I just skated through just on charm and basic understanding of shit. And now I'm oh, okay, now I gotta learn.
It's also interesting that conversation comes back when we're talking about Lua, which is one of the most obviously not political songs on the record too.
Yeah, there's a couple in a row too, because next up is Train Underwater. Yeah. That's another one that's just kind of
Let's talk about Train Underwater.
Yeah.
Body of water, toxic and timeless, Atlantic Ocean, New York skyline. I always get lost when I leave the village, so I couldn't come meet you in Brooklyn last night.
I think that's some of Conor Oberst's best advice in the world, which is, don't act strange, don't be a stranger.
I really love the in the same chorus type bit where he's and don't be fooled. I mean, don't get lied to. Yeah. I don't know.
That's almost a little political.
It is.
And he says love was always cruel.
Yeah. So here's the thing with it. It really is just a folk song. When he sat down to write that song, he thought of the chorus where he was and everybody can sing in glory.
Yeah.
But I sing glory from my lowest, and I will say peace to the people I meet.
And it's just the chords, the sound of the band. It's all just very simple folk songs.
It's very straightforward.
Which is nice, because he really did. There's lots of avenues that he could have gone down. Oh my God. The line in that song.
What?
Where he says, I'm keeping up with the moon on an all-night avenue. That's just a great line. That's that's
some Wilco shit.
Yeah.
So
you're right, it is. I'm an American aquarium drinker. I always think of living in Boston with this because I used to literally take a train underwater all the time to go from Maverick Square into downtown Boston.
I just like it because I think that there's a lot of different ways that he could have switched up this album in the middle of it, and he doesn't do it. He keeps it as straight folk album, which is great.
Right, in the Better Living Community Center, this is the slot where you would put Exception to the Rule.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing like that on this album.
No.
And I genuinely think if we didn't also have Digital Ash, there would have been.
The lyrical moment that strikes me the most on Train Underwater is the like if I don't get back, I mean if I get sidetracked.
Yeah.
Because like that's
because I wanted to.
Well, and it's also like I feel like it's maybe Conor Oberst defining like, all right, melodrama's out. Like I'm just talking now, you know, because I feel like the early Bright Eyes records are so like in your face, almost like caricature level of being, you know, like an angsty, sad teen or whatever. Yeah. And that line is really clarifying. Like, no, I'm not bullshitting anymore. Like, I want to talk about. I'm trying to get to the heart of these issues. You know.
Yeah.
And if I don't come back, I mean, if I get sidetracked, it's only 'cause I wanted to.
Andrew Bird has a song like that, a very recent Andrew Bird song.
I haven't really kept up with Andrew Bird. Hearing you talk about him on the podcast was weird because I felt like you were like, oh, he's always like this, and I was like, oh, that hasn't been my experience with Andrew Bird because like I haven't kept up with him since Apocrypha.
Oh, he's been just like putting out a great album of like extremely similar songs.
I met Andrew Bird on the street in Portsmouth. Mm-hmm. I invited him to go have barbecue with us, which he did not come. Which is also like funny about you and me meeting celebrities. We invite them to come with us, and they don't go.
Yeah,
Riley Kiley did not come camping. Yeah, we invited them to come camping with us. They did not come.
Jason Bozell would have done it.
He was into it.
Yeah,
they were. Blake Sennett was into it too. It was just, you know.
I feel like we can still be friends with
Okay, so funny story about that.
Jenny Lewis didn't come out to talk. We just talked to...
Of course not. Yeah.
We talked to Blake Sennett and Jason
No,
Bozell
because
and
if that had happened, I would be married to Jenny Lewis right now. So that night, I was supposed to go see The Faint open for Bright Eyes on the Digital Ash tour. Our mom would not let me go to Providence, Rhode Island. She said, no, go with your brother and his girlfriend to Burlington, Vermont and see Rilo Kiley. Much better show because holy shit, they killed it that night.
Oh man, Rilo Kiley was so good that night.
And what was the other band there?
The Brunettes.
The Brunettes, they were great.
Nada Surf was, you know,
Fuck Nada Surf. If you walk away, I'll walk away. First tell me which road you will take. I don't want to risk our paths crossing someday. So if you walk that way, I'll walk this way. And the future hangs over our heads, and it moves with each current of end, until it falls all around like a cold, steady rain. Just stay in when it's looking this way. And the moon's laying low in the sky, forcing everything metal to shine. And the sidewalk holds diamonds like a jewelry store case. They argue, walk this way, no, walk this way. And Laura's asleep in my bed. As I'm leaving, she wakes up and says, I dreamed you were carried away on the crest of a wave. Baby, don't go away, come here. And there's kids playing guns in the street, and one's pointing his tree branch at me. So I put my hands up, I say enough is enough. If you walk away, I'll walk away. And then he shot me dead. Found a liquid cure for my landlocked blues. It will pass away like a slow parade. It's leaving, but I don't know how soon. The world's got me dizzy again. You'd think after 22 years I'd be used to the spin, but it only feels worse when I stay in one place. So I'm always pacing around and walking away. I keep drinking the ink from my pen, and I'm balancing history books up on my head, and it all boils down to one quotable phrase: if you love something, give it away. Good woman would pick you apart, a box full of suggestions for your possible heart. That you may be offended and you may be afraid. But don't walk away, don't walk away. We made love on the living room floor, with the noise in the background from a televised war. And in that deafening pleasure, I thought I heard someone say, if we walk away, they'll walk away. But greed is the bottomless pit, and our freedom's a joke. We're just taking a piss, and the whole world must watch a sad comic display. If you're still free, start running away, 'cause we're coming for ya! First day of my life.
Okay, first day of my life.
This is the first day of my life. Swear I was born right in the doorway.
I was trying to figure out what the age range is for indie couples for whom this is a important song. Christy and I got together in 2002, and it is that for us. So that's the beginning of the date range.
I think if you've ever truly felt love, you can feel like this. But here's the thing with this song. I was listening to it today, and I was thinking like how I was talking earlier about how all love songs, when I think about Sarah, I kind of don't think about Sarah with this song. And I think it's almost because there's a lot of reasons. Number one is that I think that this song could very easily not be about a relationship that you're currently in. Could very much be like kind of just a love ode to just the feeling of love in general. Because it's a lot of that type of thing. It's a lot of like just how you feel when you feel like you're in love. But then there's also the end line that has constantly been an argument in our family about what it means.
I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery.
What does that mean
I
to
wish
you?
Christy was here, because I was just having this conversation with Christy like 2 weeks ago, and she explained to me basically what it meant, and I was like, oh, right. Like, because to me, like, there's two different ways you could see winning the lottery.
Yeah,
right? You could see winning the lottery as hopeless, insane, fool's errand, or you can see it as like, oh, what a lucky guy I am, you know? Like, I really won the lottery when I met you, lady. It's a very complicated line to me.
Because what does it mean in you, like, to you personally?
It's
when
like,
I think about that...
At best, it's like a backhanded compliment.
Right. Because it's like I'd rather be working for a paycheck than waiting to win the lottery. Like, I'm going to settle here.
Right.
I think of it that way.
I would say, which is very fun. A lot of people talk about, like, you know, Christy and I having been together for so long as, like, this kind of, like, soulmatey type thing. I don't think either of us feel that way. I think that we both feel like we got together young and we grew up together and we kind of made ourselves into that, but it wasn't like a thing that was destined to be. And so when you think about and understand relationships as something that does take work and effort.
Yeah.
And if you don't think of working for a paycheck as a bad thing.
Right.
Like, you know, I have a very different feeling about, like, having a job and, like, earning a living wage and everything now that I have, like, a son to take care of. Like, it's a objectively good thing. Like, I have no misgivings about it. I feel fucking great about being, like, a breadwinner with an office job. You know, it's like, so there's, like, this I think more mature perspective about, like, working for a paycheck, but I don't know that that's what Conor Oberst meant when he was 23 years old.
Conor Oberst did not grasp that at 23. There's no possible
And yet
way.
he did grasp so much shit that I didn't grasp until I was 31 years old.
I mean, I agree. I just think that
So
Conor Oberst also has a very torn relationship with love. And this is how you would feel if you were 23 and that you had felt love in the past.
I will say to all the people on the internet speculating as to whether or not Conor Oberst is divorced or something, I really don't think he is.
No, he's not.
I don't know what the circumstances are of his relationship with his wife. Maybe they've got some kind of open thing going on. But I recently found out that Conor Oberst has a secret Instagram that's his, it's just pictures of his dog apparently, but it's locked. You won't follow him. But he comments on his wife's Instagram all the time. And he just says, like, normal dumbass husband shit. So, like, he uses the word precious a lot when referring to, like, his wife and dog collectively. But I, like, went down this rabbit hole of, like, looking at Conor Oberst's Instagram comments the other day because I'm a fucking creep. But I was like, this is really interesting to see. I don't know, I just wanted to throw that out there for O-Boards because I know they
Did
love
you try and
some of
follow
the
the
shit.
dog? I did.
Yeah,
Did you hit follow?
No, I didn't. I knew I wasn't going to get in.
I hit follow. Maybe I'm going to get in.
Maybe.
Well, I also think that that line is reflected in Lua too. The like, you know, I'm not a gambler. You can count on me to split.
You're right. There's a gambling. Gambling. I guess I forget that the lottery is gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, technically.
And I would say that this is, for me at least, this is the second track where Lua was the first. Where this is like layered meanings for me is where like. This this track very much makes me think of my college girlfriend and also my friend Matt, who passed away a few years ago, because this song played at his funeral and takes on that context for me. Whereas, like, before that, I kind of would think of... I would think of, like, my college relationship and how, like, it was very much not great. It was very flawed, but at the time I was very invested in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is like an element of that to it, like almost like you're making this relationship really important. You're like really emotionally investing in a relationship, and maybe it's not going to go so well.
Yeah.
I very much read the lyrics of this song to be about like a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really come off as a happy song to me. And maybe that's just how I read into it.
I think it can bend either direction as far as like your own personal.
I think it's very much the juxtaposition of like the music to it is very upbeat and like very like happy, whereas like the lyrics are very cynical. I feel like about love and about
some of it, I think you probably could read it two different ways. It's a little bit like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind that way, where I read it as very optimistic, but other people read it as very pessimistic. Where like, you know, remember the time you drove all night just to meet me in the morning? That makes me think of Christy. Other people might think about that astronaut who wore the diaper to drive down to like kill her husband in Florida or whatever.
I think it's very much. I think it's based upon your own personal like outlook at the time. It's also based upon the idea that, like, the love I sell you in the evening, you know, whatever the line is, you know, by...
That's Lua, though. We're kind of ping-pong.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I am going back and... Well, it's because I think that capper last line of being like...
Yeah.
this isn't perfect.
I think
but,
that's the biggest one.
But
too.
like,
yeah,
it could
is
be
that
if I
ties it in
decided
way.
that it was.
It's the only Conor Oberst twist ending.
It is quite the twist.
the end
I think it is because I remember like our family talking about it for like a while after the fact. I remember Jeremy, our uncle, being like, "That's a horrible way to end a song. Like, what a terrible."
I also
like-
think with First Day of My Life too. I mean, we're definitely like looking at it through this kind of cynical aspect, and I'm wondering how much of that is related to kind of, in my opinion, the elephant of the room when it comes to this song, which is that this really got oversaturated in like commercials and like ukulele covers and all of that bullshit. Like this song is definitely the Bride song that has the most mainstream appeal, I would say.
Well, and it's
And I
what
think it
sold
even-
all those albums.
I had another thought about this song, which was that probably 10 million people have this song on their iPod, and it ends with a count-in, and they don't even know what song it is.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you know, I really love that song, First Day of My Life, but the only part I don't understand is why it ends with click, 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 click.
I had a period of time where I felt about this song the way I feel about "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, that's very much it's.
That's a
sister
natural.
song.
That's a natural.
I would have to say, yeah, they're very much linked in that
They like
way.
came out the same time.
Yeah.
That's a natural connection to make.
Those were on a lot of mix CDs together.
Whereas like that's a great song too. And I've seen Ben Gibbard play it live, and you can tell that he doesn't want to play it, but he does it for everyone.
Yeah, sure. I feel like Ben Gibbard probably is trapped by that a lot of the time, though, because he has those hits that like follow him aggressively.
For sure.
I've seen Conor Oberst play First Day of My Life a couple times, and I've never gotten that sense from him.
Yeah, I actually agree with that too. Because if you're Conor Oberst, the difference between you and Ben Gibbard is that like Ben Gibbard is always writing those songs.
Yeah.
True.
You know? And like that's just the one that everybody caught on to, as opposed to Conor Oberst, who writes this song every few years.
I would say that Conor Oberst actually is like a he's like everything he's ever done that's been very fan servicey, he's been like very into.
Yeah.
He loves when he'll like someone will like tell him to play like June on the West Coast, and he'll like try to play it and can't remember the words and has to get everybody to tell him the lyrics and everything. He'll do that. I saw him play when I saw on this tour that he played Falling Out of Love at This Volume from a collection of songs, and it was crazy. It was like this big full band crazy arrangement of this song he wrote when he was probably 12 or something, and he loved it. He also performed a rap that he wrote when he was like 14 years old. I remember at the beginning of it was like he was like, "Wake up in the morning, take a hit from my bong," like did a whole like rap just standing there at a microphone. Jesus. Totally like unashamed, like just like this. Check this out! I wrote this cool rap when I was 14. It was like I think it was an important artistic lesson for me, I guess, to like never act ashamed about anything.
So let's talk about another traveling song.
This is another one that's got the double drums. Jason Bozell and Clark Backley again, and it's super cool. I don't know how they do it. Like, I'm not a good drummer, but like that takes like a mind meld. Yeah. Like this song is so fast, and they're both going, and some of those fills where it's like popcorn popping up on either side. It's like. Other than like just like eye contact and being friends with someone for 30 years or something, how do you do it? It's really hard.
Yeah.
I remember arranging some things with Ryan Lewis one time, some like school sketch or something, like a lip sync thing, where we were walking down either sides of an auditorium trying to like play out like synchronized drum beat, and we did not get it right at all. And like we worked on it a lot. So I think about whenever I think about these double drum parts, you know, I mean, I know when you record it, then obviously you get a lot of takes, but like I saw them do it with 2 drum sets live, and it was incredible.
I mean, this is all the same thing that I've been preaching this whole time, which is just I love the folk record aspect of things. This song wouldn't have been written if you weren't planning on writing your folk album.
I have a tough time with the lyric. I saw a prostituted child touching an old man in a fast food crowd. I'm like, ugh.
I think that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a very visceral.
I know, but it's still like, don't say it, man.
Well, because I think he's trying to do like this like yeah, I'm writing this simple folk song, but then I'm gonna enter into a few areas that you're uncomfortable
Well,
with.
it kind of feels like a Dylan-esque non sequitur to me a little bit, but in this kind of like
It is
really
very
dark,
It's like Ballad of a Thin Man or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that verse particularly is very much because he ties it back in where he's like, the alarm clock, it was a pop song, like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was very much all like a dream sequence almost.
That's
I can
true.
get into
But to
that.
have those thoughts when you're asleep, though, is kind of dark. So,
That's true. I know. He has a lot of dark dreams.
so it's layered in that way where it's like he has the dark imagery, but it's also like, oh, it was just a dream. Where it's kind of like that cop out ending of like a lot of movies.
This is also just a song about like writer's block, isn't it? This
Love
is like,
that.
This is like
Love
Conor
that.
Oberst's adaptation.
Love that
Yeah.
drum breakdown in this song.
Yeah.
And now my ashtrays overflowing, I'm still staring at a clean white page. Oh, and morning's at my window and she is sending me to bed again.
Ashtrays overflowing and I'm still staring at a clean white page. Which is like it's funny because it sounds like a bad feeling, but it's a great feeling.
Yeah,
Man.
I agree.
Like right now, I'm like, I have like, hours and hours and hours of material recorded that I'm just starting to like dig out and cut together. And I love that. I love editing.
You're gonna have hours and hours of this podcast.
Well, I'm gonna very minimally cut this out. I'm just gonna make people deal with it. But like, it's starting from nothing is really cool. I have a couple of ideas for like the next set of episodes.
Yeah.
And I love that there's nothing yet. Nothing at all. Clean white page. That's another possibly negative, possibly positive interpretation of it.
I like clean white page as a positive because as a songwriter, that's like that's where you feel home, right? Because like there's lots of times where I feel that I've like started something that I can't continue on, but like the freedom of the idea that you're starting something that you haven't.
Indulging in the myth that Emmylou Harris got to pick her own songs, which I do think is true. I just feel like another traveling song is fine, but like I feel like her powers could have been used elsewhere. But I'm trying to figure out where it could have gone.
See, that would have made sense to me that she would.
What would
do that,
Emmylou
because
Harris on Train Underwater
that's like
sound
your
like?
classic barn burner.
Yeah, I
hootenanny
feel like-
song.
I feel like her voice makes this song even too.
So I will find my fears and face them, or I will cower like a dog. I will kick and scream or kneel and plead. I'll fight like hell to hide that I'm giving up.
Because like
I get
I
that.
don't remember her part then.
She's
It's
just
pretty
giving them
subtle,
back
honestly.
like
the chorus. I go
it's
back
all
and
just
forth
harmonies.
Forever. Yeah.
My thoughts, they.
I think it's just and I said this to you earlier today about how like her vocal texture on the whole record is just really refreshing and also just like very different from like the rest of
It
what's
is,
going
yeah.
on. It stands out like so well.
Yeah.
It's another great added instrument within this album of great instruments.
Yes.
that are deployed very specifically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like her on this song because again, it's the hootenanny, it's the barn burner, like
I guess
folk ripping up.
the very odd thing about this is my least favorite song on the album.
I completely agree.
And yet, I listen to it a lot. Like, I'll throw this song on a playlist because it fits anywhere, And I can kind of just, I can kind of just go. It's, like, upbeat. It's not going to slow me down. Like,
Right.
I'm not, like, old soul song or something comes on, I'm going to, like, stop everything and listen to it. Something like First Day of My Life comes on, the whole song might almost go by before I remember to listen to it, then I feel bad.
Yeah.
So, like, this song is perfect because it's, like, you can just kind of roll with it.
If you walk away, I'll walk away. First tell me which road you will take.
All right. Well, moving on to Landlocked Blues. I mean, we've said a lot about this already.
I think this song is so beautiful, and I think my favorite part is the like trumpet solo with
Yeah.
the piano, which is funny because I love the lyrics.
Yeah.
This is something that I wanted to bring up. Is the use of kind of like fanfare shit, like because this song, so Landlocked Blues kind of interpolates Taps, and then
Yeah.
Road to Joy obviously interpolates Ode to Joy. So I had some notes about it where my kind of thoughts on that were, if he's again implying that this is a Bush record of some kind, then the kind of like patriotic fanfare that keeps coming up as a motif in the actual music of it. I think it's complicated. I think on a personal level, it has something to do with redemption and personal freedom from your demons and stuff like that, kind of like a resisting energy. But I also think that it's used with the knowledge that isn't always authentic, and I think that a lot of the time it can be sort of forced. So, but what's the lyric that happens before the fanfare in Landmark Blues?
It's the "Because we're coming for you."
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's so there's two moments toward the end of this album where Conor Oberst is like mock political menacing.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that even when he's sarcastically, he's scarier than people that are like, some country singer who's like, well, we're gonna put this Osama boot in your ass. I'm like, I don't take you seriously. Conor Oberst says, we're gonna make him goddamn certain how it's gonna end, and I'm like, he means it.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't mean it. The guy who ostensibly means it, I don't believe. But Conor Oberst, I'm like, I take that threat seriously.
Yeah.
I've grown tired of holding this pose. I feel more like a stranger each time I come home. So I'm making a deal with the devils of fame, saying let me walk away, please.
This is something that I would say overall, by the way, about this album is that, and this is probably more of a Road to Joy thing, but this album is one where Conor Oberst starts to do the thing where his voice jumps up a register less.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, that's sad for me because I love when he does that. But on the second, I understand how he's learning to deploy it more selectively.
Yeah, this album especially, he deploys it in like very important places.
Yeah, it's pretty sparse.
Yeah, like the end of Old Soul Song, and then
Here.
Poison Oak and
Landmark.
Poison Oak and Road to Joy, and that's it. So it's like it's a weird weapon to mostly keep in the holster, but like I respect the move.
We've talked about Landlocked Blues a lot.
Well, hang on. I want to play you guys something that I'm sure you guys don't know about, but I hope you don't know about. But it makes me laugh so much. Okay, so I think I have it here. This is a song by a guy. His name's Andrew Whitman. Okay, and the song is called "Sinner's Sonnet."
Huh.
This song came out in I think 2006 or 2007.
Oh, wow. So how much money has he given Conor for this song?
Just wait.
I'm leaving and there's no coming back.
Oh,
What the fuck?
Oh, come on.
No room for places like this in my sack.
In my sack.
Who is this again?
Andrew Whitman.
How did you come across
I'm gonna kick Andrew Whitman's ass.
I came across this. I came across this on a Bright Eyes Pandora page once. And then I looked it up on YouTube, and everyone was like, it's mostly people going, "Holy shit, fuck this guy,"
Wow,
and some people saying, "Oh, it's not that similar."
What?
That is flagrant.
Some people saying it's total ripoff, but I like this one better. Some people saying that this singer claimed that he'd never heard of Bright Eyes, which I love. Like, the most audacious lie ever told in 2006 was, I wrote a song called Sinner's Sonnet, I've never heard of Bright Eyes.
That's horrible.
That's a truly...
That is
It's a
crazy.
truly mind-blowing bit of... I think you absolutely could never defend that under like parallel thing. No way. It's totally, but it's like, especially because it's called Sinner's Sonnet. But my God, and like,
whoa,
That's worse than the Owl City guy.
yeah, right.
Yeah, Owl City. Yeah, well, that's
Just
like
in general.
That's just like he's just conceptually ripping off.
You know what was really funny about Owl City was when that whole shit went down, they asked him like, well, so you're just doing the Postal Service?
Yeah.
And his response was like, well, but like everybody wanted the Postal Service to continue on and like they didn't, so I'm doing that. And I was like, whoa.
At least he's self-aware.
Whoa, weird woke, like opinion of your own.
I can't even be mad about that.
I get it.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, but Andrew Whitman, number one enemy of this podcast.
That always makes me think of the George Harrison bit with My Sweet Lord.
Yeah, where he like threw out all his radios after.
Well, and when they asked him, they were like, "So you stole this song?" And he was like George Harrison's such a badass that his response was like, "Oh, I thought that melody sounded familiar." like that's all he gave them. And was like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you guys." They settled it in court or whatever, but his bit was like, "Oh yeah, I thought that sounded familiar." It's like you can't even hide behind that because it's like it came out like a year afterwards.
What's the other song? What is it?
I don't even really know.
It's like a duo
another
song from the
70s.
60s.
Okay, because I remember hearing it and going like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is like Dane Cook and the Louis C.K. bike joke."
I think I think those two examples bring up like
yeah, oh my god, that one got complicated.
Because ripping people off musically, it can either come from a place like the George Harrison way, where it's like that was just in his subconscious. And his version means a totally different thing than the original.
It does, yeah.
But then when you have this fucking guy, what's his name?
Andrew Whitman.
It's like that. That's clearly
it's the same.
Like people like Bright Eyes. Bright Eyes likes money. Or it makes money. I can make money by sounding like Bright Eyes or whatever.
Yeah. It is troubling to hear.
It's truly the worst example. I love the example of U2 totally ripping off No Cars Go, but that one that's almost just funny to me.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's fine. I kind of feel like I don't have a problem with that. I've been sitting on that Andrew Whitman thing for a long time because I remembered that song.
That is
thank you for sharing.
Every time I remember it, I want to share it again because I'm like, I want to ruin somebody else's day with this song. I just want to also say, it will pass away like a slow parade is like one of my favorite little phrases. I just like the melody of it too. It's just such a beautiful moment. I love the chorus of that song. Has such a beautiful melody and chord progression and everything. And I
think this is the best song on the record.
I think it's probably my favorite Bright Eyes song.
Yeah,
wow.
I know. I kind of feel the same way.
I found a liquid cure from my landlocked blues. It will pass away like a slow parade. It's leaving, but I don't know how soon.
Because we followed it for so long too before it appeared on this album. That
and also Landlocked Blues is such a better title than One Foot in Front of the Other, which was the original version of it. And it's like, yeah, man, I love that. There's a redemption arc to it. He came back with an awesome title.
Yeah.
It's one of the better Bright Eyes song titles. And there's a lot of good Bright Eyes song titles.
Poison oak, some boyhood bravery. When a telephone was a tin can on a string.
Poison Oak.
Okay, so this is when we get back to the concept of the yellow bird. I'd be interested to see if anybody else has a reading of what the yellow bird motif is all about. Because there's some theories that I've read a long time ago and internalized, and that's what I think it is. But I want to see.
I don't know if I really picked up on it as much. So I don't.
Well, it's the coal miner aspect of things.
That's
right?
it. Yeah, that's what it is.
So coal miners used to use canaries as some sort of safety measurement.
Right.
Where if you would release the canary into the coal mine, and if it were to return to you, you knew that the mine was safe.
Yeah. I thought it was they took the canaries with them into the coal mine, and if the canary died,
well, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
So it's a way of determining basically whether or not you can
breathe.
And it's an early warning sign that there's a problem. And I think that whoever this person is who died in Poison Oak is Conor Oberst's yellow bird. He just says you're the yellow bird. But it's the thing that basically kept him from killing himself. Someone else killed themselves, and he saw how it hurt the other people, which is something he has referenced before.
And it's kind of the most important aspect of things.
But this is the most visceral version of that, my clothes are soaking wet from your brother's tears kind of thing. This is the song where it's I see what damage this does, and I can't do it now. I won't do it now, and you were the warning that I needed. Like, and so yeah, I mean, this is like such a terribly, horrifically, cinematically sad song.
The end of paralysis. I was a statuette. Now I'm drunk as hell on a piano bench, and when I press the keys, it all gets reversed. The sound of loneliness makes me happier.
Yeah.
This is the one somebody asked me one time on Tumblr about sad songs, and I listed a whole bunch, and I also told them No Lies, Just Love and Poison Oak, but I was like, but legitimately be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. These like if there's a certain amount of too sad.
Well, the whole verse with the Polaroids and like the heroin line and everything, it's a devastating fucking song lyrically.
Yeah.
You know, like
There are songs that I don't listen to by Conor Oberst, and this is one of them.
I still listen to it because I'm tough.
I do not.
But
I am
Quite the
weak,
flex.
and I don't.
But I have a hard time with it, you know? And it's another one that name checks Justin, which is, I've said before that it makes me think of Christy's cousin Justin.
Right.
And it's just like one of those things where it's like, it feels like a personal bad memory.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's that strong.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about 9/11 related art, the part about when I press the keys, it all gets reversed. That's like a very like cinematic image for me, and also Conor Oberst quite literally does like backwards piano and stuff a lot. So do I. But it makes me think a lot of the book Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which was turned into a not very good movie where Tom Hanks dies in 9/11. But there's this idea about this boy whose father died in 9/11 talking about basically like wanting to like reverse what happens.
Yeah.
And there's a very cool thing that the book does with this almost like it's like images of somebody falling off of a building from 9/11.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, in the front of the book, there it happens forwards, and the back of the book it happens backwards. The person flies back up, onto the building. And it's like a weirdly, like, it's a powerful image in a way that you can't understand why it's powerful. You're like, I don't get why this is making me feel things, but it is. And I like that. I like that stuff.
Let the poets cry themselves to sleep, and all their tearful words would turn back into steam.
Poison Oak, I mean, what is there more to say
anything else
about
to
it?
say about Poison Oak?
I think it's all pretty much there. It's not. I don't think Poison Oak has that. Besides the Yellow Bird part, I don't think there's too much metaphor. It's pretty much all laid in front of you. You know.
Yeah.
I think it does give the album like a novelistic arc because it drops the idea of a yellow bird earlier and then it references it again later, and it actually like literally it explicitly says you're the yellow bird.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's cool. I like that like reveal. You know, it's like structurally very nice, and that's probably why Poison Oak has to go toward the end of the album, and maybe why it doesn't necessarily feel like it fits in that sequencing.
Right.
It fits thematically, if not like musically.
Well, and I think it also established, because I mean, Road to Joy is definitely like trying to build something out of nothing, or like being at your total rock bottom and then trying to still fight through it and like continue, traveling on. So it's like I think that you need that moment of just like total despair for Road to Joy to work and not sound like Green Day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's true. It does really help because Road to Joy is such a fun and cool and like energizing way to end an album, and so few albums end that way.
So we're in the Road to Joy right
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know, we're really in there. I really love how, with the build of the song, his voice matches that.
The sun came up with no conclusions, flowers sleeping in their beds, the city cemeteries humming, I'm wide awake, it's morning.
But there's these like
And
weird
it's-
yelps. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes that's just the most comfortable place.
I just love that he really, it's this really slow build to this The sun came up with no conclusion.
The sun came up with no conclusions. Flowers sleeping in their beds. The city cemeteries humming. I'm wide awake, it's morning.
Like towards the end when he's just screaming.
Yeah.
And it's just this slow build to this huge horns part and everything like that. It's a really nice slow build from the whole album. Like like the album never reaches that high of a mark.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that it happens at the end in this however many minute song where it feels like we've been leading up to this point, you know, like we really have. And it's just nice to hear the explosion with him to match it.
Can we also talk about how this literally sounds like an Arcade Fire song too?
It kind of does.
It really does.
This is the way we tie these two podcasts together.
Yeah. Well, it has the like the 4 on the floor kick with it, like it has kind of
like Rebellion.
Yeah, and the strings even sound like something off a Funeral too. Like
yeah.
So when you're asked to fight a war that's over nothing, it's best to join the side that's gonna win.
So what's the timing of this? Funeral had already come out or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Same year.
very recently. It was
Yeah.
like the year before.
It's funny because I think of Conor Oberst and Arcade Fire as being the twin influences on like most indie rock. Some people take like pieces of each. You can take pieces of Conor Oberst and pieces of Arcade Fire and you can become the Lumineers, and you can take pieces of Conor Oberst and pieces of Arcade Fire and you can become, I don't even know what the like parallel example of it would be, but like Titus Andronicus, you know,
Okay,
like there's two different versions of this thing that you can branch out from, and they both give you pieces of both. Like Win Butler is nowhere near the lyricist that Conor Oberst is, you know, but there's something about like the musical like pathos or whatever that they have. They share common DNA. Not a lot, but enough to be like siblings or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right that it is very Arcade Fire-ish. I will always love, and as a teenager I loved, Let's Fuck It Up Boys, Make Some Noise, and just wailing on shit.
This is the song that spoke most to me in high school because at the time I was very much into like punk bands and just like aggressive band. Like at senior year of high school I listened to a lot of At the Drive-In. And so when my friend was like, no, but you should listen to this Bright Eyes record, I really liked it, but when I got to Road to Joy I was like, no, this was the song I was waiting for the whole record, because like this really spoke to like my teenage like needing things to be abrasive and loud and fast.
Well, I could have been a famous singer if I had someone else's voice, but failures always sounded better. Let's fuck it up, boys. Make some noise!
But in a completely different context.
One of the most legendary weird moments of that kind of aggression, like I would say At the Drive-In is kind of the same way, where it's like it's aggression for non-aggressive people.
Yes.
Where it's like it accesses
much
something
so.
for you that you don't get from like what other people get from like Metallica. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the symbol of this is when they played this song on Craig Ferguson. Nate Walcott smashed his trumpet.
Yes, he did. It was fucking awesome.
I don't think anyone in the world has ever smashed a trumpet like that
No.
since. I mean, that's an expensive instrument.
Did I tell you about the haircut I got because of that video?
No.
So I really just loved Conor Oberst's hair in that specific video for some reason, because he has the like swept over bangs and everything.
I did that for a while.
Well, I didn't do it the right way. Because I basically like sported a bowl cut from the time I was born until I was like
the classic Mackenzie cut.
15,
Yes, okay.
16. And so I had my mom just cut the top
Half of it off
into like a swoop,
That's funny.
and got bullied to the ends of the earth about it.
Yeah.
Probably rightfully so.
I had
out of
Christy
it.
put roughly around this time, I had Christy put a blonde bleach streak in my hair.
Yeah.
Oof. Did you do the string choker at all, or was that more your thing?
Oh, we both did.
Yeah, we both did.
We both had we both had eyeliner. We
Yes.
both had the black.
I had dyed black hair.
Yeah.
I had the Conor Oberst swoop thing, but I don't have the hairline for it. like I have because like I got like the widow's peak thing, so like I've got like a weird cowlick too, so like it didn't work, you know. Unfortunately, my hair just kind of like has to go up and back. It doesn't. It doesn't want to be forward. But I tried, and I went through a lot of different hair colors: black and red, bleach blonde.
He did.
That was a different one.
When he bleached blonde, that's when I got the bleach streak in the hair.
Yeah, because it was leftover bleach.
Yeah.
We were economical.
Yeah, we were.
So I hope I don't sound too ungrateful. What history gave modern men a telephone to talk to strangers, machine guns and a camera lens.
I think the only other thing I wanted to recommend to people if they want to listen to even more times talking about this, Phoebe Bridgers did a podcast called My Favorite Album, and she talked about On Wide Awake It's Morning. So
Really
it's kind
cool.
It's kind of a great tie-in to the last 2 episodes of Bright Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose.
I like that very much.
Did the Every Day and Every Night come out after? I'm so confused about the timeline of these episodes. All right, Springer's final thoughts.
Yeah.
On Wide Awake It's Morning. I think we've had several coherent theories of this album articulated, which is better than we normally do.
I agree. I agree.
Like, we can see this album as a way of looking at how the personal and the political are one and the same, how the political is changing everything, how technology is changing everything, how chemical dependency affects relationships and vice versa.
Yeah.
It'd be great if there was just one song on this album that was just about, going to the store. So we could just be like, it's also about going to the store. All right, well, Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you, Tyler.
Of course.
Thank you, City Morgan.
You're welcome.
We originally said that this episode would be 3 hours long, and it's 2 hours and 53 minutes.
Oof.
So it's
nice. We got endgame hours on this.
Yeah, and that's not even including the songs. So it's great. This is gonna take up. This will be like my entire
monthly
bandwidth for June or something.
Yeah.
So that's good. I like maxing out on that $15 I pay Libsyn every month. So
Yep.
So cool. Well, thank you for listening. Talk to us about this album on Twitter. We'll start a thread with all of our Twitter handles. Are you back on Twitter now?
I am.
Oh yeah. Zach and I have been engaging the Bright Eyes fans.
I'm
fairly
kind
often.
of on the Twitter right now.
Yeah.
I'm there, but I'm not active.
I'm perpetually kind of on Twitter.
The way I have it is that I don't have the app on my phone, but I am logged into Twitter on Chrome on my phone, so I can get in.
You should not be. You should just get the app back. This is stupid.
No, I'm on your side.
I was like that on Facebook for a while, where I didn't have the Facebook app, but I had the Chrome app where I would look at Facebook.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Nope.
Now I have the Facebook app.
Who are you guys
phone,
kidding yourselves?
But I just got a new phone, so I have so much space, which is why.
Yeah, I think I'm taking a stand against having Twitter on my phone for now, but I do want to talk to people on Twitter about Bright Eyes. So at me.
Yeah.
I would also talk to people on Twitter about Bright Eyes.
Yeah, we can just
I have opinions about it.
Start an epic thread.
If anybody wants to converse with me about Creed, my Twitter handle is RolandJuno60. I'm ready to talk about Human Clay. Ready to talk about Marlins will soar. And if you're at the Portuguese parade in New Bedford this summer, I'll be there. I'm gonna be front row for Scott Stapp.
Hoping he doesn't have a shirt alone in the front row.
It will be just Mackenzie. Yeah. He will have copies of the Meltdowns LP.
Yeah.
Scott Stapp will come out into the audience, look at the expression on your face, and go, "I'm not gonna do this."